She's such a great fan. I put it on your, no, I put it on your desk before, so it's extra. Yeah.
Any glasses?
I've got readers if you need readers.
I got my car, I think we'll get them.
Toughest decision today.
That is fun. That's impressive. Today. I know, it's just so hard. Two more days, 3 days in Cincinnati. All of the figures and the other side and all of the. I thought it was great. You ever gone to Court of Appeals? Yeah. And I do have one coming up from the state court.
I drive back from Boynton City, camping in Boynton City.
That'll be
They're across the street from my house, and I'm an hour and a half away. Get a break.
Dave, you remember last month, there was, fire department, group, looking into
It's all- Yeah.
You remember saying that the one?
Yeah, it's 6:30, right?
I don't remember, I said the bid may say up to 2 times, or pay extra, whatever, but we talked about at least one.
Did we talk about one person? I thought you said 2 times, but I had.
But at one point, we thought we had 2 public
Yeah.
get-togethers, but that wasn't set in stone, it was just some one person's idea.
Okay, well, the minutes here show that, we were gonna pay 25.
Hey, Rob, how you doing? All right, how are you? Good.
If we have 2 people and we do it twice, we're looking at 23.
I think that's how that's how it was written in the contract.
Yeah, the contract read that way.
It just says should the township receive additional support.
And we
Wasn't
can,
even something
and we
more
can,
than-
well, I think we put it in the motion because we wanted them to come in and talk to us
At least
at least one time. And I think did you get the email where they want to come and?
I think they included one in there, and additionals were out of our.
Well, it was all out of fact, but I just wanted to make sure that we get.
But we can, you know, we can
Paul, how are you, sir?
determine how many we want.
Okay, Paul. How you doing?
Could be.
Good yourself. Looks like the same guy around.
What we have in front of you is, there was a couple of the resolutions that Pat asked if I would make a couple changes on. We just added the budget is the budget is a clean budget today that we, basically the same that you looked at, is a little bit extra. Are you guys gonna play later? Are you gonna play this too?
Play late? Play what?
Are you gonna play later? No. Or just hanging out?
Depends on what the fingers are, whatever. Goes by the fingers. Maybe
I'm
from
right,
here,
yeah.
they'll go past 8.
Did you check with the chamber?
already.
Play longer, yeah.
Yeah, I think we start here.
Karen, do you guys want an agenda so you can follow along?
That'd be nice. Thanks very much.
At 6 o'clock, we're calling meeting the order of the Green Lake Township Board of Trustees on June 13th, 2016. Judy, can you do roll call, please?
McDonald,
Here.
Schroeder. Here. West,
Here.
Biganowski,
Here.
Radke,
Here.
Kramer here, Biondo.
Here. We'll rise and face the flag for pledge allegiance. Pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Well, approval of the agenda, first item on there, is there any addition?
I'd like to make an addition, if I could, to add to new business at the end, proposed school lease option.
Okay, underneath the rural fire representative, there's a school lease. Anything else? Someone make a motion?
Move to approve the budget as presented with the addition of proposed school lease option under new business.
Actually, I'll support that.
Okay.
Motion made, and seconded, any discussion? Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those say no, carried. Consent agenda, we have the minutes of May 9th, 2016, the treasurer's report and bills. Anyone like anything in the week?
What, the treasurer's report is, what's it saying? Check register report?
It says, by name, 2 pages.
Cash summary by account?
You got it? Yeah, summary.
I'd like to make a correction on the minutes. It might just be a printing error, but it's on page 2. At the very bottom of the page, it starts the paragraph out, move Radke, Sport, Viganowski, resolution 05092016.3. And if you go to page 3, under where it says new business continued, it starts it all over again.
So it appears to be in there twice.
Yeah, there's only half of it, and it starts at 20.
Which one would you like to read?
Oh, it has to be the second one, because the first one's only halfway complete. You have to scratch out the,
On page 3?
on page 2, you have to scratch out the 2 lines. And then on page 3, after the new business continued, and that's the full motion.
Okay, anything else? Any other comments or questions about the consent agenda? There be a motion to the effect?
I move to approve the consent agenda with corrections noted of the minutes of May 9th, 2016.
I'll second it.
Motion made second, discussion? By roll call?
Schroeder,
Yes.
Biganowski.
Yes.
Radke,
Yes.
West,
Yes.
McDonald,
Yes.
Kramer, yes, Biondo.
Yes, carried. Reports. Mike Stenson is here. Gonna give a report. Okay, Dawn? Fire EMS? Thank you, Dawn.
Hi, everyone. Do any of you, did you have any questions on what was sent to you this time for, the month of May? We had a total of 38 calls in the month of May. 7 of those, were lift assist, that was the highest of our call volume. You had requested, a breakdown of, different calls that we had had. And that was one of the highest ones, and then, altered mental status was the second. In the May report, we had, 2, medical training, evenings, and one of those, nights involved, we had, State Trooper Chris come in. She, with the K-9 dog. And so she did a little bit of activity, putting drugs around and showed us how, the dogs go and sniff out. And there are different type of dogs for different things that they use. For, lost folks, dead folks that they're looking for, and then also for drugs. So I think there was like 6 or 7 categories with that. Then the next one that we had John Holbrook come in from Munson. He is employed by Munson Healthcare, and he is our head tech there. And went through some scenarios with some active shooter presentation for us. Kind of brought us up to speed with that. Tomorrow is the next medical control meeting for Regional 7 for our area that I'll be attending tomorrow. So that's what's been going on in our world, in our neck of the woods.
Thank you, Dawn. Any questions before we comments from public? Fire EMS? Good work. Fairfield County Road Commission?
Thank you, Paul. Big news coming out of the state. We got $880,000, give or take, dollars for some high maintenance or high risk rural road projects, safety. We want to take care of some major road issues in Hobbs Highway, County Road 633, Garfield and Cedar Run, that are going to take care of some of the guardrails and other safety issues that are addressed that are on those roads. Still working through the Peninsula Drainage District. It's been a really big learning experience for everyone involved, from the township to the drain commissioner and at the road commission level, as far as different ways that you can take care of drainage issues to protect the assets and the citizens' properties as well. One of the big things coming out that's going to affect the townships is we're going to do some deposits for cost estimates. If we want to do a joint project with the road commission, it's going to be a $1,000 deposit. If the project's done, you're going to get that $1,000 back. If the project doesn't go through, you decide not to do it, we're going to return $500 of that $1,000. That doesn't cover the cost of our engineers to sit down and figure out the costs for you. But we're hoping that we're going to get some skin in the game from the township, so that we're going to get more of the projects done, rather than just estimating a bunch of work for townships that decide not to do projects. We approved a contract for our road manager. Mr. Cook now is operating under a contract. It's a 3-year contract. He hasn't had a contract the whole time he's worked for us. He's been at will, and we've decided that we need to make sure that he's got a little bit of security with us. He's been doing a great job, and I was shocked when I got on the commission to find out he didn't have a contract. So we had to get him a contract to make sure we've got some good leadership on the road commission for the next couple of years. Any questions?
I just, you give the guy a contract, this is a guaranteed job. Michigan's an at-will state. So what did you do with a contract?
There's some, if he's let go without reason, you know, we decide that we don't wanna have him on anymore, there's some financial, the golden parachute, if you will, but it's not anything real significant.
Just give me. Okay.
Any other questions?
What improvements on County Road 633 are you looking at?
I don't have the list of projects in front of me right now, I just know we're doing some work on 633. The high ridge areas is a big thing that they're looking at with guardrails and, I can't remember the other one, I'm sorry. I can get back to you if you like, Mr. Radke.
That'd be great, thank you.
Yep.
Okay, very good, thank you.
Yep, you're welcome.
I think that concludes all these things. Public comment? Anybody like to talk? Yes.
I have good
Oh, I'm
news.
sorry.
No, that's
I'm
okay. We have good
Pat
news.
Thompson,
Library.
President of the Library.
We got a $250,000 grant a couple weeks ago, and the good news is it's pushed us over $2 million. So we're sitting at 2.1, 2 years, it's amazing. So we only have 400,000 more to go. So if anybody'd like to contribute, we're taking. Any questions about the library?
Any questions?
Okay, thanks.
Thank you, Pat.
Paul, has public comment?
Oh, yes, public comment, I'm sorry. Yes.
As most of you know, I've been campaigning to run for supervisor. Oh, Andy Merrick, 2875 East Railroad Avenue. And during that process, I've been going out and taking pictures of different businesses and different assets around the community and found some issues at our park. Since I posted that video and some pictures on the park, I've had a lot of people in the community and outside of the community reach out to me and want to help do some community service work to help bring the park back up to snuff. I don't know what needs to be done on my part to get approval to do anything, because I don't know if you guys have plans in the works to take care of stuff. Unfortunately, because of the Cherry Festival, I agreed to do a bunch of work with them and to build some stuff for the kids club. So after the Cherry Festival, I was hoping to put together a work fee with the people who come out to me, including electricians that want to take care of some of the electrical issues there. If you can get me some information on what I need to do to get approval from the township to make alterations to our park, I'd appreciate that.
Okay. Any other public comment?
Paul.
Yes.
Tim Trudell, 3076 Bowerman Road, Kingsley, the chair of the Rural Fire Board, Paradise Township Supervisor also. I just wanted to respond a little bit to the rural fire meeting after some of the, I don't know what you want to call it, lack of communication for better terms. I made a statement that I wasn't trusting of what Green Lake Township was doing, and I still stand by that, and I know Mr. Beganowski retorted that. But if you look at it from what the Rural Fire Board received from Green Lake Township, whoever the representative was at that time, was no communication. We had no clue that Green Lake Township was looking at a consultant to look at their fire service or their EMS service over here. I sent out an email on April 4th asking for information, and all I got back from was a response from Mr. Biondo was, I'll be at the meeting on April 20th, I think it was, which was a consultant. This is what I'm talking about, Dave, when I said I didn't have any communication. Then you guys turn around and say on March 20th you sent out an RFP. Why was the rural board never informed of this RFP? That's what we're getting at. We have no communication from Green Lake Township as to what is going on. Are you guys going out on your own? Are you hiring a consultant? You hired the consultant that the rural board paid for their time, travel, and expenses to get here and didn't say a word to rural about it. That's why we're saying there's a lack of communication. If it would have been brought out and said, hey, can we have these consultants, can we talk to them too? Okay, I get it, I like that. But there was something that just didn't sit right with me. You've seen the emails? You've read the emails.
I've seen the timeline that Dave did, and I thought it was very accurate. I mean, you know, a lot of things happened both at rural and at Green Lake, and they just seem to overlap as far as the RFPs and no responses on the rural side for some, so we went the other way. I'm sorry, rural fire went the way to have the consultants come in.
Right.
They happen to be the only ones that responded to us.
Well, like I said, I just want to say, there has been a severe lack of communication. I don't know if it's going to improve from here on out. I would like it to. If there's improvements that need to be made on the rural side, we will do so also. We don't want to lose Green Lake Township. We don't. You guys are an asset to rural. You think about it, you are. You're the highest paying in the township right now, second to Paradise. Or I should say Paradise is second to Green Lake. We don't want to lose you, but we've got to communicate.
Well, as far as going out for RFPs, that was an overlapping issue. What other issues?
Well, it just seems like when we find out about things, we're finding out through the grapevine. I mean, the only reason we found out about you guys talking to these consultants was because Chief Weber heard about it from the consultant, not from Green Lake Township. Why would you guys not say something to us?
Well, I think there were just some emails and phone calls that they made.
But
I thought the chief knew everything that I knew. He might not have passed it up to you, but
He's,
at the time we were actually close friends.
yeah, I mean, you were communicating with Chief Weber, and, you know, I mean, there is that, I guess, too.
Alright. But anyways, like I said, I don't want to take up a bunch of time. I just wanted to tell you where I stood and why I made the comments that I did about, you know, not being trustworthy, and I can't trust anything that I hear coming out of Green Lake Township. The reason being is because of the lack of communication. I just think if we can improve on that, we can move forward and we can be one very healthy organization. Thank you.
Any other public? Comments on correspondence?
Moving correspondence. I did hand out to everybody an email that I had gotten from Leslie. I think we maybe need to table that until the next meeting. I don't want it to get lost in the shuffle. Maybe table it till the next meeting.
What's the topic?
It's the request for proposal for Interlochen Village Governmental Center design plan.
Yes. Boy,
We don't have to postpone it.
get moving on.
Or at least,
I mean, we don't have to do any action on it.
just bring it up at next
Put it on
meeting.
next week's monthly agenda.
Because you guys are just getting this.
Okay, well, yeah, you all just got this, but maybe you take a look at it and do a workshop or something. Either that, we'll put it on.
Just deciding whether to send out a RFP.
Leslie,
Well,
I'm
let's
sorry.
go back.
any-
We said we'd have a meeting on it, a special board meeting on it.
Well, it's not on the agenda, so it would be appropriate to postpone it, but, you know, next time we put it.
Right, we don't do anything on it right now, but I would like to discuss it when I started.
And it's on the agenda.
Oh, I'm sorry. It is.
Third item under new business.
Second page.
Yes. Okay. Thank you.
Makes them a little more efficient than I thought.
Well, we'll wait till we get that spot.
Sorry.
There's a lot of things on this agenda, so we've overlooked that. But we made it all the way to old business, just because it's business we talked about before. And the personnel policy, Karen Keembaum is here, who you're familiar with. He is working with us on updating some personnel policies. I'm sorry, who's and Kelly.
Kelly Lloyd and myself, hello everybody. I was here once before and we talked about personnel policies and some changes. And we worked through a number of them. I've got copies of the new employee handbook, which you guys can take when you're leaving. If you have any questions in particular about any of them, please call me and I'll be glad to elaborate on it. But the purpose of having the personnel policies was to have set a really good tone for all employees, a very positive tone about Green Lake. Also to tell everybody that the expectations for their conduct was the same. In other words, conflicts of interest are inappropriate, discrimination of any kind is inappropriate. Our pay policies, there's even a dress code in here. I mean, there's some things that are just intended to make sure everybody knows what the rules are. They are subject to change as necessary and subject to change as the law changes, because there are a couple of things that are related to legal issues per se, but not that many, you just have to say them. I'm gonna be meeting tomorrow with the employees and going through the handbook with them and actually conducting a session on not just the handbook contents, but also on diversity issues. And part of the reason I'm doing that is not only is it a relevant subject today, but just like the handbook protects you guys from litigation because it gives clear expectations, almost everybody who is a sophisticated employer, as you guys are, does some level of diversity training with their employees. Because they want to make sure employees get their questions answered, and they also want to make sure that employees anticipate how to behave correctly. One of the biggest problems that we have, and I've experienced, is people getting treated on the basis of their stereotype. In other words, if I made the same mistake myself, I really think I would never make mistakes. This is my business, not to make mistakes, but I was explaining how stereotypes can be a problem, and I said, you know, one of the stereotypes there is that Orientals are too small to be effective soldiers. Now, and so, because they're small people, generally speaking. So somebody put their hand up in the room and they said, how could you say that? They're not Orientals, they're Asians. I was mortified, because the plane of diversity changes as the time goes, and I'm obviously a relic of the past, and Oriental is a rug. It's not a person. But, so, if I can be caught up making these kind of mistakes, I'm sure that all of us make those kind of mistakes. And I also want to have people here get from me the fact that it's a very forgiving environment. As long as we're learning and going on the right path together, nobody's expected to be in lockstep with their thinking all the time. But at least this will hopefully set some minimal standards. I'm going to be asking people to sign up for their handbook, which is going to have another at-will kind of document, which is in plain English. As you know, you guys are at-will employers, but of course you still have to have reasons why you separate people, and they don't have to be, you can be just tired of them, but it can't be a discriminatory reason. So what we're trying to do is make sure everybody understands that. They're also going to be signing a document that makes it clear that they will consent to have drug and alcohol testing under the appropriate circumstances, accidents, people appearing impaired, and so forth. And the drug and alcohol policy has been updated to include a reference to medical marijuana, which is, of course, a big challenge for employers because you want a drug-free workplace, and yet some people are saying, but I have a prescription for this. So I'm happy to talk with you at length about that, but we are addressing the issue that, you know, no one can ever be impaired while they're working here, regardless of what kind of prescription they have. They can have a prescription for penicillin, and if it impaired them, they shouldn't be working. So I'm going to spend some time talking to folks about that and make sure that they understand that if they're impaired, they are going to be drug and alcohol tested, so that they behave safely and that they can treat the residents in a safe manner. There also is in their packet an alternate dispute resolution policy. It's kind of a long collection, but what it is a mandatory mediation policy. If someone has a big dispute about something on their job, or if they've been terminated, this allows them to request that their concern be mediated by a professional. It doesn't preclude them from going and filing a lawsuit. It doesn't guarantee a result, but what it does is it's a way that people know that they're not going to be treated arbitrarily, and if they think they're being treated arbitrarily, they can have a way to resolve it without having to file some kind of lawsuit, EEOC charge, or other kind of activity. In my experience, these are very effective, because number one, they discourage people just whining about things. You're serious, if it's a serious issue, and then you guys can take it seriously. because of course your views will be the other side. So I know it will be interesting with the employees to explain this to them, and I think actually they're gonna like it very much. Because it doesn't require they do anything, it just says, we're willing to take a hard look if there's a serious dispute, we don't want it to get out of control. Of course, it's bad for my business, I really wanna have big disputes, so I have lots of big challenges. But, so, in addition, last but not least, in an effort to try to get people to realize that you have an even-handed workplace, there is a copy of a complaint form that's being given to all the employees. Why would you give people complaint forms? They're gonna fill them out and complain. No, actually, the fact of the matter is, very few people actually fill them out. But it does help them if they're trying to talk to their supervisor, or their boss, or any of you, to figure out what kind of an issue they have. And so it helps to focus them on a concern. And the other thing is, if they would happen to file a lawsuit, and they hadn't sat down to talk with you guys about the complaint, we have a very good legal defense in Michigan if people do not use a legitimate complaint procedure. And so, in other words, if an employer has a complaint form that's available, they have a mediation process that's available, and somebody goes completely outside that, it's a legal defense for you to say, we should not have to be in court when these things could have worked first. And the courts will usually give you very favorable treatment. So this is a legal defense, but it also shows employees that there can be personality difficulties, there can be this, there can be that. And we want to get these things resolved because they have an important job to do in serving the community, just like you do, and hopefully this will help to resolve their concerns. So I could go through the whole table of contents, but I think the people behind me probably just as soon not do that. But they are all pretty standard things. We've got lots of copies, so I'll just put them up there by your desk, Judy. And tomorrow afternoon, any of you are welcome to come to the training session. You got some questions?
Well, this is for Paul. I know we've got one employee left, I think, it isn't that well. I think we've got one. And something like this, shouldn't the board read it all first?
Yeah, the sequence is all out of whack. That's not our employee policy, because we adopted. We should do no training tomorrow.
Okay.
We haven't adopted it. We haven't even looked at it. I didn't even know it was done, actually, until just 10 minutes ago. So, and I'm not sure I want to give employees diversity training. I want to see what their diversity training is all about. The sequence is backwards. We need to approve the policy before the employees have training in the policy. I'm not gonna prove anything I haven't seen.
And, I'm sorry, did that, your question again?
That was the question. I thought the board should read that first and approve it before she gives it to our employees. Unless there's gonna be input from the employees, which I don't think
Again,
that's
if you
how it
remember,
works.
we engaged
Right, we hired Karen to do it.
a while back. So Karen, would you?
Well, one of the things I did is, we have worked with Judy and Paul and reviewed all the policies with them. They, as far as they know, they not only reflect the law, but they reflect the sense of what the community wants, and what you guys want.
It's 2 people out of a 7-member board, and we often don't agree on things. So,
Well, it's
no,
my
that's
understanding.
not our policy.
It's my understanding that they are the managers of their own particular areas, and that these individuals who are employed report up their lines, and it would be appropriate for them to be the persons who are ultimately responsible for implementing them.
Yeah, we discussed that a little bit too, because, yeah, we've always approved personnel policy change, but again, this is the first time she's at this, or is this the first time I've seen it, just an hour before.
I don't have a problem with it. I want to look at it before it gets adopted and shown to our employees. And again,
When you approve these, will this rescind anything else we've got? That's where my question.
You're gonna see there's there's, what, 2 changes in there?
There are very few changes that are
It's the same
substantive.
policy that we had, it's just in professional form.
And it's
But
upgraded.
the employees have been notified, and it's a mandatory training for tomorrow. The reason we did it is because Kieran is here and has the time to do it. So that's why we set it up the way that we set it up. Otherwise, I mean,
That's one of my common complaints about the board, is you guys do stuff without consulting the rest of us. Don't even tell us. And then we find out at a damn meeting, and it's,
After the
sticks in my craw every damn time you guys do this now.
All right, all right.
What if we set it, the handbook for ratification at the next meeting, let them go through the training, and if there's any changes, then we could notify the employees that the parts were approved, or parts were added.
That's, to me, that's,
Well, hang on. So your process tomorrow, or your thinking was to get some diversity training?
Right, I was gonna roll out the handbook, talk to them about how their at-will status didn't change, and that's why they were getting this. The drug policy didn't change, but I wanted to make sure that they knew that, and had agreed, that they would subject themselves to if there was an accident. So your policy didn't really change, it's just trying to be more upfront about it. You guys have a complaint policy, you have an open door policy. This elaborates on your open door policy, and the same with the mediation aspect. So the things that I've been talking to you about are ways to have it uniformly communicated to everyone. And the diversity aspect was, because actually the handbook, it's nice for them to have in the handbook, and I think it's legally compliant with everything. But there aren't that many changes substantively. But I think the diversity piece actually is very important, and it is for a number of reasons, because it is not only something that employees need to know about and need to be comfortable about, because our times are changing so rapidly, but it's something that I think that they're gonna be proud to be working for you if you're willing to spend some time on trying to broaden their ability to communicate with the public, because that's really what it's all about. And the protection against lawsuits.
Okay. Okay, those-
it's still a secret. We should have this for 2 weeks.
okay. I agree. I mean, I don't think there's a problem. I don't see any problem with diversity training.
I don't know.
you guys hired Karen Keenbaum to handle this. This is how she does her rollouts. I talked to her, I let her know that there were some of the board members that were going to want to see it ahead of time, and she said, this is how
Well,
she
it's not how
does
you
her
do it.
labor.
You give it to the board members, and then she comes to the meeting after, and then we ask her our questions. That's how, unless you plan on coming to our next meeting as well, because this is, you yourself presenting it doesn't get us anywhere. I don't know, you need to come to the next one after we've had a chance to digest it. Every policy change we've ever made in this township for the almost 12 years I've been here, we've done as a group of 7 people at a meeting, and it's all, we discuss it, we go through it, we approve it, and bada boom, bada bing, that's our employee policy. It doesn't go by 2 people
It
or
isn't
1
how,
person.
it isn't how Karen.
Well, Karen, I know we engaged you to get us down this path.
We primarily engaged her for our
Yeah,
thing with the fire.
excuse me.
This was an add-on.
Yes, it was, but we did agree to.
You're right.
And keep in mind, we had an audit from our risk management, which is our insurance process, and there are some shortfalls that they clued in on, which is social media and some different policies that we were, that they wanted us to update on there. So, you know, it's all timely. Karen, everything, what would you recommend?
Well, I'm not familiar with how you do everything all the time. Typically, this is like an administrative role. I don't really, the word policy is there. If you treat it as a policy, that's one thing. It could be simply administrative guidelines that you usually call employee handbooks. You know, that's what they are called, they're guidelines. So I think that, in my own view, you obviously have the authority to just put them in place. If you don't want to do that, this is your township. And I can sit down and review them all with you at a special meeting, and we can go through why one change is more valuable than another, why we recommend that certain social media things be excluded, how computer things have to be encrypted. I mean, there are some changes in there, but they're changes I think you'll probably embrace. As I said, if you had any questions, I'd be happy to answer you as a group or individually about them. I'm disappointed we can't
I
go
think
forward.
that's probably a pretty fair idea, is to, give us some time to digest it. I had, just,
Well, and you can go and
Look
take
at
the
your
old one and the
review.
new one, and you'll see that there are some changes, but most of them are consistent. It's like the complaint policy is consistent with your open door policy. It just focuses it, and you should make it more effective.
We let the training go forward and the employees knows it hasn't been formally approved by the board yet. And then next month, we'll have a chance to look at it and decide whether to approve it or make changes.
It's backwards. You know that.
Well, isn't, aren't you
well,
up and down?
typically, we've always presented things, let the employees see the things and comments too.
Input, we've
Because
always done
we'll want their input too. I mean, it's a two-way.
Well, it's called an input session.
No. You don't train somebody on something that's not right.
So the training isn't what, isn't the handbook. The training is her doing a training on her own on diversity.
Has anybody asked anybody, other than you two, if we wanna do training for the employees on whatever topic?
We're doing this because we're meeting what the insurance company has asked us to do. If you looked at
You've
the
not included,
report,
I know the 4 trustees haven't been included in any of this. This is all new to us
would you like me to
today.
send an email out to all
I've
the
been telling
employees
you that
and
for
tell them
months.
that we're not going to do the training
Yes, that's what I would like, but why don't you ask the other trustees?
Because, you know, these
This is
people
not how
have
you do
taken
it.
time off from their work to come here tomorrow because it was a mandatory.
It was,
So,
in my opinion, scheduled in error. This is not how the sequence you do things.
I make a motion that we go ahead with the mandatory training tomorrow and postpone approval of the employee handbook to the next board meeting.
I'll second.
Motion made and seconded, discussion.
Jerry, Mar, you guys are gonna sit there with bumps on a log? Just steamroll over again?
They know they're wrong.
No?
We're
Well,
all-
It's
we're
not a
all-
matter of
we're
wrong or
all the-
right, it's,
we're all the employees, or employers of the township as a board. With what Karen is saying there is right, if you're in a, management position like a factory, you own your factory or whatever. But when the people of the township elected us, it means all of us are governors. So it's a decision that all of us should have been making.
well, in all honesty, Doug,
Even though you
I
guys are in the office working.
Well, and I agree,
don't
that's,
have any problem with that.
I don't have a problem with that. Karen, this is how Karen normally does it.
I mean, we
And
asked,
we asked her
How come
to
it
do
didn't
it.
come to us before? How come you didn't, somewhere along, I know we've had Karen about, what, 4 or 5 months she's been around, and we've been working with you? How come not even one email come to my house that says, hey, Karen's in here and we're working on the policy?
Karen wasn't here working on the policy. Karen and Kelly worked on the policy. And then
No,
Teresa
Karen
came
said
today,
that-
came
Karen
today
said
and
that
presented
she
it to us.
worked with you too.
Her and I talked on the phone back and forth with recommendations, that's it. This is the first time I've seen it too.
So you haven't read it either?
Today, when she brought it in.
You read it?
Mhm.
Okay, 'cause I haven't read it, I don't.
yeah, I mean,
I
we
don't
did
wanna
bring
deal
up
with
this issue earlier, we had, I mean, she came in 5 o'clock because she was coming to this meeting. And, I did ask that question about typically, the policy issue. She again said it was administrative. I think that we can, I think that would probably be the best thing, and the right thing is that's not the motion on the table, is to postpone it, I'm sorry.
Continue with the mandatory training tomorrow, and then postpone approval of the employee handbook till the next board meeting.
You're asking the employers, the 7 of us, to approve a training that we have not seen an agenda for, we don't know what the topics are in the training. That's just nuts.
For
We're supposed to
training,
be,
we do training all the time.
I don't even know what the topics are. Is it a 4-hour training? I know it's diversity, and the drug policy, but that's not, we're supposed to decide as a group what training the employees get, I wanted to see it after the
Training for
fact.
the
You've never
employees.
decided when we did training, what are you not?
So for an employee manual that we are trying to adopt,
She's not training them on the manual, she's training them
I don't even
on-
know that.
She just
Now you're
told you
telling-
what she's
She
training
told
them on.
us what she was gonna have them sign. She had 4 or 5 sheets, and so she's gonna have them sign something that we haven't even passed as
She
a-
doesn't have to, if we're postponing the handbook, she can do her training, mandatory training, and she can roll out the handbook at another time.
Is that correct?
You're the finance. As long as you're doing something lawful, we'll help you do it. You know, I mean, that's, you know,
Well, you said diversity training.
diversity training, that's in training to, help prevent sex harassment, that's training to help prevent discrimination on the basis of color, stereotypes, all different kinds of things. It's, ways to spot issues that can get you guys in trouble legally, so that they're like, do some, a little role playing, things where 5 or 6 employees will work together to try to see if they've developed an awareness of some of these issues. So it's I've given the training before, it's modified for you guys, but.
It's to protect the township. Right?
Absolutely.
And that really has nothing to do with the employee handbook per se, because the employee handbook is how we expect our employees to handle themselves, other than what you're just not talking about. Days absent, sick days, dress policy, those kind of things. So, I'll hurt it.
Oh, okay, motion made second. Any other comments? By roll.
Let's do Radke,
No.
West,
No,
McDonald,
No, it's not ideal, but since the employees have already rearranged their schedules, I'll vote with yes.
Biganowski,
No.
Schroeder,
Yes.
Kramer, yes, Biondo,
Yes, and I feel the same way. We've already scheduled this. It's a good training session. We try to do trainings with our employees. I think that we'll be able to take these with us.
we just won't hand out the employee handbook tomorrow, we'll do our training and that'll be it.
We can give them a
It's not the
draft.
training that's the problem, it's the way it's happening. We're the employer, and I would like to know, if we're gonna do training for employees, a list of what's happening. I'd like to know what's going on before I
Well,
get to a meeting,
and what
to
we-
find out.
What we've done is we have just followed Karen's lead, this is how Karen
Is
normally
that
does.
part of the price that she gave us earlier, that the training included in the price? Do you know that?
Yes.
Karen,
Yes.
what you're doing with training tomorrow, isn't that what most people get when they go to a new job? And it's, go sit down at the computer, you got 3 hours on sexual harassment and 3 hours on whatever,
I'd like to think that my training
well, that isn't what I meant, is
is
that the
effective, but
type of
those
stuff
are the
it is?
kinds of subjects, you're absolutely correct. Those are the kinds of subjects that almost all employers, and certainly your insurance company, wanted to have all employees familiar with. So, it's not anything unusual, it's just that in person as opposed to something on a computer or something like that.
Then come future, 3 months down the road, we hire somebody, which is on the agenda tonight. How does that person get trained?
The person can get trained by reviewing the materials, and actually, most employers train every 18 months, everybody, again, because there's so many changes, and it's not one of those things you do a one-time deal. But the handbook has your policies, it has anti-harassment, anti-bullying, it has that kind of thing, but it's the kind of thing where a lot of people don't understand what the real standards are, and the training is very helpful. But new people, they will have a learning curve.
We've never had this.
Orientation or training.
Well, that won't happen again.
Well, they
On
have,
my
I'm
part.
sorry, there's an orientation.
I guarantee you.
Not, I mean, for certain staff and certain positions.
Supervisor Bender?
Yes.
So, on this diversity training tomorrow,
Go ahead.
the topics are federal law, state laws as far as sexual harassment, drug screening, harassment, and bullying. And
Right, and it's to help prevent stereotypical thinking that will lead you to making the kind of mistake I did with Orientals. In other words, when you're working with the public and you're working with other individuals, all of us are raised with certain kinds of biases or stereotypes. And this is to help alert those, because most of your employees interact with the public all the time. And so for them to be encouraged to be sensitive to differences and respect them, I think is what I'm trying to instill.
Okay, what time is this at tomorrow?
4 o'clock.
Okay, so that motion carried. Raise and milfoil resolution 6/13/20. Hi, Ed.
Hi.
Ed Dewey's here.
Would you like an update?
Well, yeah, we're here for the resolution, but certainly we know a lot has happened in the last
Okay.
month.
I can wait.
So, yes, why don't, Ed Dewey's
Okay.
here with the Green Lake, that's your,
Yeah.
Green Lake, that's right.
Green Lake Duck Lake Association president. And we're working on the erosion milfoil for Duck Lake. So PLN has been out. They've completed their survey on June 8th to see if the erosion milfoil is spread. And the good news is that it hasn't spread significantly. So the treatment schedule that we have in place is gonna work. And they're right now scheduled, the first treatment will be June 16th. They'll be out, weather permitting, treating the areas that we've gotten the permissions from the owners to treat. We have a couple owners that we did not get permission from, and the treatment vendor will not treat in front of places that they don't have written permission from. So there's only a couple that I think we got one today. I don't know where Bill went, but I think we got one in today. So for the most part, we've knocked on doors, we've called people, we've emailed people, and we did a pretty good job of getting most of the permissions in. They'll be doing a follow-up survey July 11th. They'll be treating again on July 18th. And then on August 15th, they'll be doing another survey and treating one more time as necessary. And then September 18th, they will do a final survey to see how the treatment took place. And all those dates are kind of weather permitting, so if the wind's blowing 40 miles an hour, they won't be out there treating because it blows the treatment product around, and they want to make sure that it's effective. Just for the record, in Michigan alone, we spend around $25 million on Eurasian milfoil, just in Michigan alone. The other thing we're doing is I've worked with the DNR at our launch sites because we know we have Eurasian milfoil, and I've gotten them to approve us putting up steel signs that show people how to clean their boats off when they leave the lake. So Simplicity is making 18 by 24 steel sign. DNR is going to allow me to put them up in the DNR launch sites, and they wanted a use permit from Michigan State where these came from, and I've got the approval from Michigan State to use their signage. So we'll be putting that up in all the DNR launch sites, and there's a few launch sites that aren't DNR that we'll also be putting them up on. We're gonna take place in an aquatic invasive species blitz, where we have school kids, Boy Scouts, adults, manage the, post the launch site and try and teach people. We won't keep them from putting their boats in and out, but just trying to show them how they need to clean their boats off, taking them in and out. So we're doing everything that we know how to do to try and prevent the spread lake to lake. We'll also be doing a survey on Green Lake. The association itself will be doing their own survey of the aquatic species to where we pull them up in about 100 different spots and sit in the boat with a book and try and identify to make sure that it hasn't spread into Green Lake. So that's where we're at. Our next focus is gonna be on the treatment on 2017 and the ongoing funding for that. So that's where I'm gonna turn my attention to. That's it. You're welcome.
Good work.
Any questions, by the way?
Yes.
How many people didn't, approve or whatever, give their authorization?
We had one in the Cove. I have his name.
That failed to approve.
That's what I meant, they didn't
deny.
send it back, or they're objecting?
They didn't send it back. So like when I called Parcells, one of the big owners in the Cove, it wasn't that they didn't approve. I heard her shuffling around in the mail saying, oh yeah, I have the letter right here.
People will.
And she asked me some questions and she signed it and approved it. The people that have not sent their permission letters in, for the most part, we can't contact. I can't get hold of.
No active objection to your knowledge?
No, have no active objection. Just can't get a hold of them.
Yeah, and it'll be the same way in the next process. It's just a number of people, not that they object or not, they'll just never respond. So we have in front of us a resolution to start the process. Again, in the background, folks that are familiar with it, there's a raising milk on the Duck Lake, which is treatable and manageable. We've partnered with the Lake Association this year to get on it and treat it early. And what we'll do is we're going to begin a special assessment process for people on that lake to pay for it. Continuing years, there'll be a management issue. It's fairly common in a lot of the lakes once they start seeing those. So we're going to begin that process. This resolution tonight is setting the dates, at least the next date, and we've been working on it.
I move to adopt resolution number 06132016.10.
You gotta do that top part.
Yeah, we did that. We kinda did that. Yeah, we did that last.
The last meeting, that's
Okay.
what.
I second Marv's motion.
Okay, motion for the resolution made and seconded. Judy?
Sure. Did you want to fill that in, or should we do that tonight?
I think we should do that.
And that should, is part, word said is part of it that we do need to vote on.
So we just carry over from our motions from last month, or the last meeting that he took this up, and just fill in the blanks.
Right, this is the beginning resolution to set the public hearing, so typically this is the format of the forward first, and then the resolution, so,
It doesn't have to be this format.
but it's the format we have. So to fill in the blanks, Supervisor next reported that Duck Lake lot owners have approached him regarding the need to combat the spread of aquatic weeds in Duck Lake by the establishment of a special assessment district to annually treat Duck Lake, diminish and eradicate aquatic weeds from the lake, hereafter referred to as improvement. The motion was next made.
I'll make a motion that we direct the township supervisor to receive plans for the improvement, the location and portion of the lake which needs treatment, and an estimate of the cost of the same.
And was seconded by,
Reggie.
Wait, we got a motion on the table.
was the motion seconded?
Yes.
Oh, I'm sorry. You want to withdraw?
I'll
Because
just
we
rescind
really
my
do have to
motion
use
at
this
this
one.
point.
Okay with both of you? Sorry, you're correct. Thank
But
you,
it's,
Sherry.
it's the right one.
Okay, unanimously carried, directing the township supervisor to proceed with plans for the improvement, the location, the portion of the lake which needs treatment, and estimate of cost is the same. The township supervisor's report was received showing the improvement, the areas of the lake which require treatment, and an estimate of the cost is the same. The plans estimates were presented to the board for their consideration. The total estimated cost was the amount of $40,000. And have you seen the budget?
Yes, they come in and
Oh, last week, okay.
we put in some money.
Should we vote on the last?
No, this is a budget for the special assessment district, how we've arrived, by the way, at $40,000. I don't know, do we have a copy of that? Anyway, I certainly, we'll get that to you right now, but,
It's in the-
Yeah,
It came with your packet.
So the email and package was at 38,000.
Well, we did 40 because Ward thought it was a little light on the legal fee, so he raised it up.
so let's talk about that budget.
Recommended we do 40,000.
Just while we're here, because Ed, have you seen the budget?
I have not.
Oh. I just want to, so we worked through it in the office and Bill did a good job. Where's Bill?
Oh, the rollback.
There is some different glasses. And we've come up with that $40,000 number. The reason being is that we'll be able to use some of the survey costs for this year in the special assessment. So we've tried to defer, since this, what we're calling a survey cost of, is it $6,000?
Yes.
She's been able to split that, so using the, I can't remember the technical term she's using, but some of the survey results, we're gonna have to pay for in our, this year's process, but we're able to kind of get engineering work and estimates to do the special assessment. So we actually have got nearly 2 of these $6,000 expenses. We've got legal, we've got publication, we've got some additional costs in there. This will be a big district. This is, running 600 people or so.
520.
We'll, there may be multiple meetings, so we'll have to publish everything. So, anyway, that's where the number came from. And that's what this says. Motion was next thing.
Wait. Let's catch up to the point of order here.
Okay?
Yeah, the meeting tomorrow.
We need
Excuse me?
to,
Oh, sorry.
we needed to vote, roll call vote, or we needed to vote, did we vote on that motion that Donald made and Radke seconded? Did we vote? We need to vote on each one of these, if there's one, if we're all motions.
No, we did, but, okay, motion was made by McDonald, second by Radke. Those in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
I move that the plans and estimates be filed with the township clerk for public examination.
I'll second it.
Unanimously carried ordering plans and estimates. And the motion is made and seconded, discussion. Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
None, that's carried.
So now can I make the motion for resolution?
No. Oh, yeah.
2016.10. Support.
Okay. Resolution to set the meeting today. Okay, motion made and seconded for the resolution. Discussion. This is known as resolution 06132.016.10 by roll call.
Schroeder,
Yes.
Radke,
Yes.
Biganowski,
Yes.
McDonald,
Yes.
West,
Yes.
Kramer, yes, Biondo.
Yes. Carried.
Supervisor Biondo, if I may just add to this, I asked them, have a request in the Sarah Plantrick and/or a Maggie Corcoran as far as having a free boat washing demonstration, free boat washing day at our public launches here. They've been doing it throughout the state, and they'll bring their heated power washer up with a mat and show the boaters the prime areas of the hidden secrets of our milfoil and any other foreign matter that we're trying to stop from going from lake to lake. So I'm hoping to have that, and that's through the MSU Extension Education Office on that, so,
Is that Michigan State?
yes.
Let me know if we can help with that, because we're working with them too, so if we can coordinate, and then that way we'll get them out twice.
Yeah, so they have that free boat wash.
Yeah, perfect.
Power wash, okay.
Yeah, we'll just keep coordinating probably with that. I mean, the association has done such a great job
Oh,
for
yeah.
all these years. And I just to again compliment you,
No, thank
John. You and your group have done too. With that, Beeman's property purchase resolution number 06-13-2016.25.
We basically agreed to this last month, now it's in form, except you guys added the costs on, we don't, someone included that statute, which was nice, there's a $300 application fee, did we eat that or didn't have to pay that?
You can't apply for it, anything that the breakdown that I gave you is all that the state will allow us to
It
pay.
says you can get back the $300 application.
She said that to me when
Who's preparing the deed, who's paying for the deed?
Ward said that we don't need to pay, what do you say, quick claim?
Somebody's gotta draft the deed.
Yep. It's gotta be ordered. Yeah, it's gonna cost money.
Well, again, we agreed to do this as long as
You
it didn't
can't
cost
do-
us any money.
You can't claim any type of attorney fees or anything like that.
Well, we could
Those
charge
are-
it, we just wouldn't be able to keep it.
We
You're
can-
saying they won't let us charge it, but then after all that stage.
You can charge it, but we aren't gonna, it's gonna go to the state of Michigan. She said the only thing that we can do is we can claim the purchase price of each parcel and what we paid for the first year's taxes, and that's it. Anything above
She
and
said
beyond
you
that.
may also deduct the $300 application. So I don't even know if we paid one or not, but if we did, that ought to be in there. Again, we agreed to do this as long as it didn't cost us any money, now it's costing us money.
Yeah, the advice you got from her in statutory language, it's like she's wrong.
Yes, I agree. Let's charge it.
Or whatever she's talking.
I mean, you can, I talked with, her name is, Tricia, she's in charge of the refusal, the right of refusal.
If you
Ward read it over too, and he seemed to think that we would not be able to.
go down further, Judy, 1, 2, 3, third paragraph up from the bottom, following costs which may be incurred by municipalities may not be deducted from resale proceeds. Technically, we are selling it back to them, right? So it's kind of a little conflict type thing.
We're definitely reselling it to them, that's we
Well,
agreed to
then
do
it
that.
says we can't get our attorney fees,
Right,
Title service fees.
title service
That's-
fees.
I get
Did Ward going to put a number on it, or?
well, it's gonna be under $300 or whatever, but if we put the $300 on, then we eat less money. I mean, the recording fees and the cost for a deed, depending on who's doing it, it's between $100 and $150. So I'm not gonna get too exercised over it, but I'm surprised you can't get that back.
I agree.
We could pay it if you want.
Well, it's the
Behind the
statute,
building.
it's the state telling us some things,
Okay.
and not you guys. So would you like to add the
Yes,
$300
please.
on
And then I'd be happy.
So then we'll change that to 44.
there? 44, 15, 68. Okay, so, okay, that's the number if y'all want to agree to it. Do y'all want, kind of think that's the number?
I move
Okay with
to,
that?
adopt resolution number 06-13-2016.25, with the change, and now therefore be resolved, the sum of $44,015.68.
4,400.
Or, 44,000.
We'd like 44,000.
You could keep
I'm
it,
sorry,
pay taxes.
$4,415.68, point of clarification.
Second.
Okay. Lots 3 to 4. Any other discussion from the board? By roll call?
Kramer, yes. Biganowski.
Yes.
McDonald.
Yes.
Radke.
Yes.
Schroeder.
Yes.
West.
Yes.
Biondo.
Yes. Yeah, it's carried. We'll arrange things as soon as we can get together, or we'll have things drawn up.
Yeah, let me know.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
I got a word. Consumers Energy Ordinance.
We voted on this once. What happened was, the gentleman did not get the paperwork to us to get printed in the paper within the 30 days. So we have to vote on it again and approve it. And it'll be in my office tomorrow, so we can get it sent over to the record and into the publication.
I move to adopt ordinance number 06132016.5, Consumers Energy Company Electric Franchise Ordinance.
Second.
Okay, so motion made and seconded for Consumers Energy franchise ordinance. Any discussion? Those in favor by roll call?
Biganowski?
Yes.
Schroeder?
Yes.
Radke?
Yes.
West?
Yes.
McDonald?
Yes.
Kramer, yes. Biondo?
Yes. All right, I'm gonna keep it a little quiet. Budget amendment, board approval for the Wilson property. When we went to look at where we're getting money, we decided we moved the budget.
We didn't, when we made the approval, didn't we say where it come from?
No. Trent and I went back through all the minutes and the board approved for us to go ahead and do it, but we didn't do the proper vote for our budget.
Yeah, we talked about where it would come from, but we need to budget it because we're amending the budget. I mean, it's not in there, so we need to show it as an expense.
Right.
I move to approve the budget amendment as presented.
Second.
Motion made and seconded for the budget amendment. This is, chart of accounts 401, dash 000, 699.000, transfer from other funds, the debit is $119,000, and, the credit
That's
is
the
on
purchase and the inspection, right?
Yeah, total amount.
And we'll take it from the capital expenditure fund, 401-000-7, or 970.000 for the same amount, which is the balance of 0. So that's the amendment. Motion made second, further discussion. Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those not, say no. Carried.
Paul, no, this has come up. Could you have, I don't know if Dennis would do it or, Bill would do it. Could you have them just create a new list of township properties for us? And just give it up to us? I was looking at when the DBA thing here, and I was surprised by our properties, so.
Oh, in the audit or?
Yeah,
budget?
oh, yeah. So I just like a new list.
Sure, we'll put together a pictorial of what we have. Just the.
I just wanna know what the township owns. The properties that the township owns at this time.
We'll put together a nice little thing.
You go to that county website, that's Green Lake Township.
Well, no, we're tax exempt.
No, they list our property.
They list
Oh,
it all,
because we all have property numbers.
do they list it?
Yeah, we'll put together a
Yeah,
nice
it
little
has
list.
addresses too.
We'll get you a location or something. So we voted on that?
Yes.
Budget amendment, new business, open a budget public hearing. Need a motion and a second at a time.
Motion to open at 7:07.
Second.
Made, by
Kramer and West.
Kramer and West. 7:07, open the budget public hearing. It's a roll call. Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Say no. Carried. We're now at a budget public hearing.
The budget I got today, is it different than the one we got, the last two we got?
Slightly. Well, not in the net results, but the way we were booking things, the question came up. I'm sorry, let's refer to the dates and the times on these
I got 3 of them.
Everybody's looking at 6/8/2016, 4:13 PM.
Okay, that's the latest one before today's reprint, which, again, you're missing some chart of account numbers, depending on which one you got. Some other things, which we kind of reformatted to make it easier. If anybody wants to take a look at the budget, there might be a couple up there still, I don't know. So I would say that most notably, on the first page of the one that's 4:13 PM, at the very bottom, you'll see transfer in fund balance.
I have a 4:13. Yeah.
What's your time?
That's one that was on the desk.
I got 408.
That's today.
408.
Oh, okay.
How you doing the other day?
You asked that question about the old ones. Yes, some slightly did change. And this one here, the last one that went out, all that happened,
I'm gonna just make sure I got that.
Or the
Oh.
48 is the one you're talking
No, this is May.
so it's, mine's cut off, but basically it's the 8th of some month.
about. That's the one he's talking about. But this is the newest one. It's gonna change from this one to this one.
Well, I just wanna tell you, not much.
Show you what he changed.
The only thing that changes is the function of using the transfer in fund balance, which we've historically used. If you look at that bottom column,
Yep.
you know, you had 215, couple dots over, it's 485, and then it's 605 to balance. In this reversion today that you have, that you, has a page number on it, and you know, it's pretty clear, that is gone from the bottom, okay? Now, it's not gone, it's just, you know, we were talking to, well, Pat brought it up, and what happened was, we look at the balances on page, in this case, Fund 101.
Oh, that passed.
On page 8 of the budget, the differences are this, the way it's booked. And most importantly, we always try to have our, again, we have our starting from the audit, where we were audited out at $862,764 in Fund 101. And then we have where we're projecting up to get out of this year, which is 2015-16 projected activity. And what you're seeing in the old one is this was not being, this is not reflected, this number, it was not calculated. Well, it's a budget, it's not, you know, it's not our operating software, but we like it as a tool. So what we've done is really a better way. It's really the way you should do it, not a, because it's showing up as a transfer in fund balance and all these when we use that, but it's not a revenue. We already have the money. So, you know, we're not gonna get the calculation, where as a matter of fact, here on the one you have in front of you on your sheet today, it shows the negative, okay? And that's okay, because you're going to expend some fund balance, you know, that you've accumulated. And it shows where you think you'll be if you expended all that budget. And generally, you know, some of these projects, we do some. So the net number is the same. It just, you know, it just looks a little different. Because on page 8 of the, see how my scratching on it. On page 8, you know, it's kind of getting this reflective number that we couldn't get reduced by the transfer in, which is what would be happening. When you take that money off, you want to show that reduction. And one of the most important things we have is where we started at the 2014-15, where our activity ended, where our audit confirmed the activity. We also have here the current to-date activity as of today, but where we think we're gonna get to by the end of the budget year, which there's still bills to pay and everything else before this budget's over. And that shows a better true accumulation of where the fund balance is. So, those are, I believe, the only thing that's slightly changed is the way that format we used to use transfer ins and it keeps showing up, you know, it's okay in a budget, but you're not gonna get a calculation of it. Because it's a budgeting tool as part of our software. I used to, if you recall, build this on a spreadsheet, and this is nice to be able to use this tool. I mean, but it does look different. It's the same net result if you
Is that a manual plug you guys did to fix this, or is it
No.
the kind of people say this is the actual line you're supposed to do down, or? is this
Well,
figured
you
out?
know, the software company doesn't get into that, and the fact of the matter is, no, because you get into the debits and credits and everything in the, you know, the audit and everything else, but this is a budget, so it's just a tool. And what we're really doing is adopting this fire column, or that's the goal today, is to talk about the fire column, all these other numbers in between.
Is that a yes, it's a plug that you put in on the budget, that's fine.
One,
Plug meaning a fixed number that doesn't calculate, that you just wedged in there to make the rest of the numbers come out right.
no, I would say that the previous method we used to use did that, which I didn't like. Because it didn't give you the true projected fund at the end. And Pat had brought that up, and it didn't take too long, we're like, yeah, well, you're right. So this really is a better way to operate, is to say, hey, you know what, you're gonna expend more than you're taking in, and it shows as negative, but the tally at the bottom shows you have a fund balance to cover it, that's not a negative fund.
I'm saying every time we do a budget, that has to manually be looked at. Because it's
No.
not calculating.
No, it's actually, I think it's really kinda easy
Okay.
to look at.
All right.
And it's again, just to be totally good and transparent about it, I think it really, you know, you don't wanna show these, liability or in a revenue column, showing the transfer in, when in fact you're taking money from your savings account and transferring your checking account. You didn't make any extra money, you just transferred. So as I recall, those were we did a couple adjustments on that with some of the other funds. Pat, we're going to be working on the projected activity columns for several weeks anyway, because we're not gonna close out the existing budget. So there are some journal entries we're gonna make, because there's some, there are some issues that were purchased that were, well, we always do that. Some things that we can actually book in PEG expenses versus our township or wherever it would be. But there are some things that will change over time, but not the budget itself.
All right, I think you harp on this, but you took it off of here, so this number comes out right, more realistic, just like we wanted. You took out the beginning fund balance.
Yeah, that's true too,
But you didn't do it for 2015-16.
no,
No, you
Okay.
can't touch them.
because
Well, if it's a budget.
well, it's an approved budget, and we don't need to amend it or anything,
Okay.
it's just from here on, you know.
From
this
here
is-
forward, it's gonna be
an
standard.
easier way to
and
look
it's
at
gonna
it.
match. Right now, it doesn't match, and that's the reason why, okay?
It's
Yeah.
just BS&A versus fund balance is
Yeah.
way up to it.
Our fund accounting software, before we converted, just like Judy said, from fund balance to BS&A, you know, again, there are a lot of things that have changed, but this
He
is.
told us it's just more of a protective way to do the budget so that the board can actually see where you're at. It's just a little bit, it's
You can do it either way, but if you really wanna see that balance, this is really the best way to see the balance. So I believe it's approved. Yes.
I'm just looking at this, I think we missed one earlier because it wasn't an in-fund transfer, it was from a different fund. Unless we can find where it came from, but we might.
Where you at?
One adjustment. If you go to 401, capital improvement.
And we're looking at the newest copy, is that okay? Generally the newest copy?
Page 20.
Page 26.
Handwritten or typed?
the new one.
Typed one.
Yeah, I'm sorry. The date is a print of today, 6/13/2016, and it was printed at 4:08 p.m.
Look, there's a transfer from other funds of 178,000.
That's what you just voted on. That this includes that 119,000 that we just did amend to the amendment.
All right,
That was
Alright.
last year.
All right,
You guys must have, or there must have been a decision
Hang on.
to buy something.
Yeah, it's true.
Oh,
Oh.
you're right, it should be over in this requested column.
It's true, but it's in this capital improvement fund. We don't have a plan to spend $179,000 next year. Happens to show up in there, but we just did agree to spend $179 from, is it Wilson House?
Well, because you had money in there already, you have to include the 30,000 and there was already money in the account, so when you add the $119 to it, because I had Trent check this when he was here last week, and he said it's your 119 plus the money that was already budgeted into that particular account.
Well, let's cover that for a second. Under activity, we have a $10,203, which is interest. This is a revenue account. We have revenue of $30,000 as activity. That was a transfer from our budget. So that gives you $40,203. So the next page is gonna be expenditures, is that correct?
Oh, maybe this is in your, 179 in here twice. It was in the 215 budget, and now it's in our budget for next year. So maybe that was left in there to cover the Wilson House.
Yeah, it's a revenue. It's because it's coming in as a revenue. We booked it, we took it out of the,
Came out of capital improvement.
I think we can eliminate that 179 now.
the one in the far column.
The far columns, they're requested, you're right.
Because we made the budget adjustment.
Okay, all right, so we're straight.
So I would say that on page, 26? Page 26, it's a revenue for fund, 401 capital improvement fund, that 2016-17 requested budget. We don't have any plans to expend anything on that right now. We do have a budget, so I'd agree that we could just say zero.
No, because we would have, we left it.
And I'm sorry, the page I'm referring to, this is revenue. Okay,
Well, he's looking over here too.
okay, I'm sorry. I'm getting
Your
staples on it.
expenses.
On page 26, the revenue of 179, okay, that revenue, we budgeted every year for $30,000 as a revenue in Fund 101.
Transfer from.
It's a transfer from Fund 101 in our budget that we, in our general fund budget, that we have been accumulating money in there. So that should be $30,000 on page 26, because it's a transfer. We might also, anyway, I would, and I'm sorry, the board, there's $30,000 that we accumulate in that fund every year that we budget for, like the ambulance replacement fund or anything, that is a budgetary item. It's still in there, so page 26 should reflect it.
So it should be 30,000.
There's 30,000 reflected as building replacement in the general fund. That match?
I think so. Yes.
Just called something different.
So that does need to be changed from 179 to 30,000.
Yes. And then in the expenses though, on the next page, 27, you have some professional services, $169,000, which, frankly, I don't know if we have any plans. All these.
So we're taking that capital expenditure, 169.
Yes. So on the far column, 216, 217, there's no need for the 169 to be there. I mean, we haven't talked about any purchase.
Well,
Yeah, the balance will go up.
169,000.
Yes. It's in this year's budget, and it's reflective of next year's, since we didn't spend it this year, so yeah, 100,000. I'm sorry. So, On page 27, 2016-17 requested budget, $10,000 in there for professional services, which typically we kept in there as a budget to look at some of our interests. And expenditure, though, expected at nothing, at zero. So, go ahead. I'm just gonna tally this up.
Yeah, tell me that.
To go back to
See, if it's in the 15-16 budget, we can't take it away.
like 5.
Yeah, again, we're really working on the far column, 2016, 17. You get it from requested, and if the board chooses to approve it tonight, we will upgrade, we will post it to the system, and it would be an approved column, and we'll sign that document. And any of these adjustments, we can reflect. But everything, you know, in the middle, which is a lot of columns of amended activity projected, we could certainly talk about anything, that's not really the approved budget.
If you're adding that 169 back in,
Mhm.
this is what you're gonna.
Yes.
It's gonna be 553,003 instead of the 384,003.
And we'll adjust that out on the, you know, final.
We should put pages to this.
Yep.
Other things?
If you explain page 13, I'm looking at both the handwritten numerical page and the typed page. Then we'll go to page
Let's do
15.
13.
Yes, sir.
What do you got that's handwritten?
One of my, like, it's handwritten page, very top right.
Okay,
That's
fire,
one.
Let's go.
fire millage
Right.
fund, yes?
Yeah, so remember we talked when I'm looking at the discrepancy, the difference of the reduction from 729 to 632. I mean,
That's because 97,000 was eliminated from the transfer and fund balance.
It says on page
Yeah.
15 down at the bottom.
Similar-
Okay, that's what I was looking at.
Similar to Fund 101, where you can see there was $75,000 in there, 2014, 15, agents. Okay, instead of them showing up as revenues, we leave that revenue out because it's not a revenue. And it will just balance, it'll balance on page 16.
15. Right, that's what I was just
Right.
curious if that was the same type of
Yeah,
scenario.
it's the exact same number, it's the net same result, it just is a, you know, it looks different than previous years. We didn't book it that way, and honestly, you know, it's, you know, this is a better way.
The same, the numbers are there, but it just, it's showing the
Yeah.
income,
You know, I
not income.
I think the best analogy is, you know, you transfer money from your savings account, credit union to your checking account, you didn't make any money. You just
I just wanted to
transferred
double,
it, so.
yeah, I just wanted to double check to see if that was still the same accounting process.
I will again state, that if anybody's not familiar with it, due to the change in personal property tax laws, which we're promised to make whole someday, I did not reflect that if they ever do give us any money in there. So there's a reduction, you'll see in page 1 and page, you know, in the tax revenue and some revenue sharing. Now, we're seeing memos that in sometime in the second quarter of next year, they promised to maybe make us whole on that. You know, unfortunately, a few times they've not made us whole on that. So I don't know, statute-wise, but they seem to manage to wiggle out of it with the personal property tax the year before. Or the DDA TIFA district. Didn't count the increase, so we didn't get the increase. But, and anything else? Anybody else want to talk about? But, no? This is a, the last page didn't think of it. So this is a 64-page budget with multiple funds. It's fund accounting is how we do things here in Iowa. Where the good news is, we're in pretty good shape. We plan for some projects that sometimes they happen, sometimes they don't, sometimes it costs more money, sometimes it costs less. But that's what we do, is plan a budget for the next year that we're operating.
Make a motion that we come out of public hearing at 7:27.
Second.
Wait, motion made, seconded, 7:27. Discussion.
Do we have any public comment?
Anyone, I asked, anyone else? like
I did it 3 times.
Yes. Yes.
Could I ask one question on revenue on the front page here? What is the swamp?
It's a tax.
Well, it's really
Dating.
PILT now, right? Is it really PILT? It used to be called swamp tax.
Might be the commercial forest tax.
Some of the lands that the state owns, believe it or not, are exempt from taxes. They're all exempt from taxes. It's just to make us whole in some ways, the legislature has tried to absorb lands that they could sell someday. So there's a swamp tax, which is an old term that we carried over for years. I think it's PLT now, payment in lieu of taxes. So now, when they feel gracious about it, they'll sometimes give us some money for all the land they own that we protect, fire-wise, or whatever else. It's basically lost revenues on tax revenue. So but it's not set in stone. It's argued over different years. They pay it, sometimes they wait a few years, and then they cheat us out of it anyway. So it's a little bit of money that does pay for some of the state land. Some is in different ownerships than others. Some is parks, some is a division of, it's their holdings though, their assets that they can sell if they want. So it has a market, it may have a market.
I can't get them to pay me anything on my swamp.
Yeah.
Well, that's the old term.
Yeah, it is an old term. It's really up.
It used to be like $2 an acre for swamp tax.
And I think the initials now are,
PILT.
yeah, no.
It's a potential pond site.
Okay, anything else? Motion made second, discussion. Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Not say no. So we're out of the, close of public hearing, we might wanna change the time to 7:32. So, that concludes the budget. Now we have, some resolutions. Who wants to go first? You got the list in front of you?
I move to adopt 06132016.1. Is the resolution to appropriate budgeted funds.
Second.
Motion made and seconded for the resolution. Discussion. Judy, by roll call, please.
Schroeder,
Yes.
Radke,
Yes.
McDonald,
Yep.
Biganowski,
Yes.
West,
Yes.
Kramer, yes, Beyond.
Yes, it's carried. Anybody like to make any more motions?
Make a motion that we approve resolution number 03132016.2, township board meeting scheduled as presented.
Or are always on Mondays? No, nothing special on this one?
Nope.
Motion made seconded, discussion. Judy, by roll call, please.
McDonald,
Yes.
West,
Yes.
Radke,
Yes.
Biganowski,
Yes.
Schroeder,
Yes.
Kramer, yes, Beyond.
Yes, it's carried. Resolution 06132016.30, the depository resolution.
Move to support that resolution.
Second.
Motion made and seconded to the resolution. Any discussion? Hearing any, by roll call, if you please.
West,
Yes.
Kramer, yes. Schroeder,
Yes.
Radke,
Yes.
McDonald, Viganowski,
Yes.
Biondo.
Yes, it's carried. Resolution number 06132016.40, investment resolution.
Move to support resolutions 06132016.4.
Motion made and seconded, West and Schroeder. Discussion. Hearing any discussion, by roll call, if you call the roll, please.
Radke,
Yes.
Viganowski,
Yes.
Schroeder,
Yes.
West,
Yes.
McDonald, Kramer, yes. Biondo.
Yes, resolution carried. Move 6132016.5, resolution for general appropriation act.
I'd make that motion to adopt the resolution as stated.
Second.
Okay, motion made and seconded, discussion. Discussion, sorry, I lost my train of
Roll call.
thought. Roll call, Judy, can you please call the roll?
Schroeder,
Yes.
McDonald,
Yes.
Viganowski,
Okay.
Yes.
Kramer, yes. West,
Yes.
Radke,
Yes.
and Biondo.
Yes, it's a resolution, is carried. I got a request for a break, and, so could we entertain taking 10 minutes?
Move to recess until 7:45.
Second.
Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
It's carried. So we're gonna take a break.
Was it Radke and West?
We have to take action on the salary.
Yeah.
We don't have to, just roll call.
Yeah, we usually just do that sheet just to say, no, we'll do it here. You do that?
Okay, I'll have, because I'm gonna work over that gallery investment, should go with the show last. She can include both clean water, is that part of it?
So it must be that.
So, yeah, I just, he chose this, show level, just got stake in our hand.
Oh. Okay, sounds good.
So she's here.
Take it off, Tim?
Look forward to it, I'm trying to get.
I don't know, these are all signed in.
You are right.
That's what I should have communicated better. But we can work in conjunction.
And I was talking to Chris Stark at DNR.
I had no idea what your opinion was.
Anxious to help us, yeah, he said.
I thought you would do all this.
No, we just. I know.
It's always interesting, isn't it?
Couldn't have the same one.
I think we have.
Why is that?
Sometimes it's better, sometimes it's worse. The 31st year I've been doing it.
That's what I've been doing.
Well, it can't be, because you got what you wanted. You got the result you wanted.
They did a real good job with which
So I was
well,
We're, this guy, he's behind, but his people aren't behind.
better than that.
Shit, our
Well, I just didn't want to step on your toes.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm just going, well, here's an idea, but I happened to be looking at it today, going, you know, it's just
Whoop.
people say, you have to turn on and watch some videos of it, and how.
I actually have a big hand. So far, even hit on mine, my house.
If you want.
Very rare, you know, but once in a while you'll.
Yeah, so I
you'll get it.
was trying to
The water's been really clear.
you know, and however, but I wasn't just sitting from her, I wasn't outside, that's where it's freezing. You know, I'll take you with me.
Very aware of. Right up in there, or creek.
Yeah, we don't have a site.
And I think now that.
Yeah, we have to.
Yep, if you don't know, then you don't, you're not
Yeah,
obligated.
but now I know.
Yeah. That's probably it goes off.
Yeah, great, we'll work with you, that'd be
Very
great.
good.
Oh, where that come from?
I mean, I have a company in Fort California, but I have done it, you know.
I got a call today, or somebody was putting something.
I can do it. So
I've been seeing everybody stop. My thing is right in the trailer, which they have seen.
I said, you know, I said, I can't answer that because.
No, I don't. No, I don't.
I'm glad you just walked, I just happened to go home, and we had such a land thing there, and I rode away.
Yeah, I've been out twice, checking to make sure the license date was there, make sure it was right. It was funny as hell, because Beaman did his just not 2 weeks before, so he did it. So, I was happy, and I got 70 feet out, waiting for the trailer, because I speculate if I didn't take that out, I could put a house in there, it could still meet the requirements. Same thing with the well, so. The guy was telling me, he said, the way it's going with the state, that eventually they're gonna make it mandatory where you have to stay away from it. They will. It's getting that way. When they asked me how far I was going with it, I said, don't worry about it, it's more than 10 feet. So. I was just wondering how you were, because I know you would, but I tell you, there's still, stuff is there, the second one, they put it right behind that front fence there. I'm sorry. Patched it up, you can still see it. You know, I just don't understand that. Same thing with her. It's bogs.
Yeah. Our job is to.
I know Gary.
I mean,
Everything's
you know, I
all
get
around
that.
there, so you can't see us. But I can still see
Well,
his junkyard.
you know, I get that, I think that's the thing, we don't want
And you
to
go
close
in
it
there
off,
and see him do
but
it.
it's not their number one bait. It's, are we gonna do this?
I don't know if he's done with his training, but it was, the last couple of days, he has, him and his wife, about 3 days.
Well, all we did is, we had to, I noticed,
As long as they pick up the garbage.
that's all we done.
I got a question for you.
I have an answer, and hopefully it's right.
On the road,
Uh-huh,
on the right road,
okay.
you know that dip in there, it keeps going down? Go down that once.
Have you called the office? There's a request for service line that we'll send one of our supervisors out to take a look at it.
Well, then I'll do that.
And then,
You got a number right off, I can put it
hey,
down?
Tim, do you have the office number?
9222484.
Write it down on there. I'll call them in because that road's like this.
What road is that?
Gonder?
Ri-
Oh, Riley.
Riley Road, through that swamp area. Used to be a
Right near
quick.
where we had to replace that culvert last year.
No, this is
So
not
we had that
culvert.
culvert failure out there where the road.
You replaced the culvert down further. This one here, all they did was put asphalt on top of asphalt.
and it's still like this.
I wonder if there's another culvert there.
It's got water on both sides.
It must.
That's what concerns me, is there's another culvert failure.
I heard it was a sinkhole.
That screams of possibly a culvert failure.
Okay, I'll call it in, let you know.
What's the address it's closest to, and I can send it to Toby right now?
I really can't give you an address because the house
It'll be on YouTube.
that's next to it, I can't think of his house number or anything right off.
But the patch is pretty visible there.
Well, you can't miss it, your car will
Okay, so
just go.
it's on Riley between what road?
It's Riley Road, yeah. You're not even probably 3 blocks down the road. And you'll go like this.
So it's between, I'm just trying to give him.
By the library?
It's beyond the library.
Just past the library.
It's past the creek there. Go on down further and you'll see it.
About a half mile?
About a half mile. You go over and you see black asphalt, real dark black asphalt with the old. So, it's right there.
Still call it in, but
I'll do that.
So we're gonna, come back to the recess. And, we're on page 1, salary/wages, which is, no, simply a motion. That's just a spreadsheet we do, and this is a calculator. Just sets the standards.
No action on that, right?
We usually make a motion because that way, you know, instead of just it being budget, we actually said, here's the way.
We should do roll call, vote on it.
No.
And it's the 3% that we had discussed, or approved.
Whoever would like
We did some exercise last month. And that was just reported.
Right.
We've all done this independently, you know. Feel the need to do anything with it.
Well, the issue is, you know, you really only approved a budget, you haven't really said something.
In the past, when we gave out raises for ourselves and employees and changed hourly rates, we've always done that by motion and official action at a meeting.
Right, but we always printed on that. I mean, that's,
Right.
so yeah, I mean, it's not required, but whatever the preference is, who made the motion, we can request with the motion, who made the motion?
I'll make the motion that we approve the proposed 2016, 2017 salaries and wages as presented.
Okay.
So what if that's different from one of our prior motions?
What motion?
Well, we didn't, we have, the only thing.
Is there a second for the motion?
Second.
Okay, discussion.
The only thing we voted on before was, remember we agreed that we would do the 3%?
We did the assessor's salary, we did a bunch of stuff.
Yeah.
Right, and now this is showing you the figures, and this is like the legal.
I know, it's a consolidation of everything we've done.
Yes.
What if it's, I'm just saying, if you do it again, you risk changing something.
If you do it
We haven't
again,
done anything.
You just adopt, they made a motion to adopt that as the right number.
That's for this year.
For this year.
Are we absolutely sure we got the numbers right?
Oh.
We're not contradicting something we did earlier.
As I was asking.
no,
We haven't.
the first time.
That's why you don't do two things the same,
Okay,
you set yourself up for.
any other discussion? Any? Those in favor, say aye.
We do roll call, please.
Who wants a roll call? You do? Okay, by roll call.
Schroeder,
Yes.
Biganowski,
No.
Radke,
Yes.
West,
Yes.
McDonald, Kramer, yes, Biondo.
Yes.
Oh, Dave, you're killing me.
Page 2. Okay, action on public hearing. Adopt budget for the fiscal year 2016-17.
It's on the back. There you go.
Well,
Wouldn't we normally put in motion by budget?
That's in the previous resolution.
Yeah, that's, you just voted.
It's in the resolution. It's the appropriation resolution.
we don't have anything in writing. already in.
I'm sorry.
You just.
Well, okay, we had a public hearing, but we haven't adopted a budget. I'm sorry, we did by resolution, why is it on there?
Because at the end, you guys always, you always vote to approve the budget as presented in the past.
There's usually a written motion.
Yeah, it's in the appropriation, resolution.
It's always been a separate thing.
I mean, approve the numbers themselves, in the language of any of those five.
Yeah, it's section 5, but the
Yeah,
appropriation.
we haven't done any of the numbers, so we have to approve the budget.
No, we just did it, we just,
Attached to this list.
No, we did the resolution.
Yeah, I mean, what, whole one, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, so that breaks it down. Each fund. The ambulance, fire, special assessments, library, golden fellowship, improvement fund, capital projects,
As
right?
Sherry, you stated, by budget center. Yep.
Right, this says that that's how we're doing it, this doesn't say what we're giving to it. So like Pat's comment there about how much it's in each one, we're not approving that in here.
You're just,
it's kind of
the
by
other one is
reference.
you're just doing the budget centers. This one you're.
He puts his signature on one.
You gotta quiet down. Go ahead, Steve.
Well, there's gotta be an attachment to that resolution, and like, normally you just put a signature on it, right? And that's the one that we
Well,
know we
we-
did tonight.
This budget with that date and time on it is usually what we're adopting, I mean, with the changes we've made.
So I think we adopt. Do you agree, Mark?
Yes. You know, how about we reference the date and time of that draft and its amendments, which were the amendments.
Read section 5 of the appropriations
I know, but
resolution.
that doesn't give you the figures that we just went over. You're gonna have to somehow put those figures in. Because this budget shows the figures, that's what you're actually approving in this motion.
All right, then move.
I move to adopt the budget as presented on 6/13/2016 at 4:08 PM.
With the amendments.
With the changes noted on 26, I think it was, or 36.
And the capital approval. Yes.
I'll second that.
A motion made and seconded to approve the budget.
For fiscal year 16-17.
For fiscal year 16/17.
And that is just a motion. Any discussion? Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
So, pass all the resolutions, carried.
Okay.
Special event, Christine Dean.
Hello,
Hi.
I would like permission to have flea market at my Christmas farm market. And an auction twice a month.
Okay. Give us just a second to get to give us just a second to get to that part of
Okay.
it. We got a lot of paper tonight.
Okay.
Kind of auction, Chris. What kind of auction?
Just
Everything
everything,
and everything?
yeah. A lot of the vendors, they don't wanna take their stuff home, so we'll have an auction, get rid of it.
Kind of like down there at Coatmish.
No, Christmas farm market.
No, kind of like they do down at
Oh, yeah.
Coatmish where they have the auction down
Yeah.
there, kind of like that, okay.
It's gonna be under the 14-day deal or the cumulative 2 months?
Well, she has, you're looking to do it,
What kind of month?
For 21 weeks.
Oh, so you wanna go under the cumulative,
It's only a temporary use, not special event.
right?
what says Monday through Friday.
No, on Saturdays,
Saturdays
Oh.
only,
Saturday only,
or every Saturday, I'm sorry.
yeah.
It's just for all the business.
the flea market's on Saturdays, the auction will be every other Saturday. It won't be every Saturday.
Denny, you got a site plan on this?
Yes, sir.
It's
Huh?
included in
I
your
do.
packet.
I don't have that.
This is what it looks like.
This is site plan? Site
Well,
plan.
that's the
It's
review.
got site plan review and then it should have
I have a site plan review, I don't have a site.
Yeah,
we
but
didn't.
you reviewed it, Denny?
Yes.
And compliant?
Yes.
I move to authorize, the seasonal use or temporary use as presented for Christine Beeman for the 21 days. Yeah, it's every Saturday, so you have
21.
21 Saturdays. Okay.
So is a motion, and is there a second? And
Sherry
second.
did.
Discussion? Not hearing any. Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Not say no. Carried.
If you
Now-
could, just,
Yes.
if I could, just a real special request, if we can try to keep them off the highway, please.
Well,
Yeah, we will. I know, I know it's their choice, but.
we
please.
have, if they parked there last year, which I didn't know I needed a permit, which I'm very sorry, I didn't. We would escort them and we would tell them they could not park there.
Thank
And we had no trouble.
So we're good for this Saturday? Coming Saturday?
As of right now,
Yeah,
Work
Denny,
out the details with
We'll
Denny.
we'll get it done. Okay.
I think, yeah, you may have to get a permit or something, but Denny will take care of it.
Okay.
I just.
We got with our part.
Good luck.
Okay.
Thanks, I'm gonna
So, Memorial Park Pavilion. In your packets, we,
Should be right after.
Leslie, did you
Christmas
prepare
market
this?
packet.
the RFP,
Yes.
well,
Oh, are you doing
No, we're in the.
no, we're not in RFP, we're in the Klaus.
oh,
What happened to all of the, we had that drawing from that guy.
Memorial Park Pavilion, what do you guys think?
Okay, we started page 1, exhibit B, is that, you're right, it is a RFP, by Klaus.
This is just for the engineering. He's a certified engineer, we can't have Clem do this one.
Well, I don't,
Who's Clem?
I mean,
Non-certified engineer who knows how to build pavilions.
We had that one already drawn up.
Yeah,
Is this
there's
it,
the
was
drawing.
that?
no, it was enough to go for the grant, we didn't
For the-
actually have
It
it.
was Sam, yeah.
Same guy.
Yeah, Klaus had
The
helped
same
us
guy?
with
Okay.
the state grant, enough to make the application.
Okay.
I
And
think
then,
the attachments are just leftovers from when we did go for the grant, and I can tell they're not.
again, I just had to come down after we talked about, do you wanna, move on this or not? The time is running, you're really running out of time.
Is our pavilion being used all the time now? Is it still being used for that?
Guys, booked on the.
Okay, wait, let's have one person talking about it, okay?
Yes, it's booked on during the summer.
So this would be, we didn't put out an RFP and have a response. Be a contract hiring sort of situation.
I mean, again, I just, when you guys talked about it, I thought, well, we better have somebody give us some next step. So this is the next step, we want to engage,
So this is for engineering, not for the, who's gonna build it, right?
Right.
So engineer will come up with plans, and then we go over the bid, the plans.
yeah,
So the second step, we don't know who's gonna build it.
it's just,
Wonder if Home Depot would do it.
Yeah, Andy's gonna build it.
That's a volunteer work he was talking about, huh?
Just save the township 90 grand, Andy, thanks.
Least I can do.
So this is just with engineering, which has to be done no matter who builds it, or let's quit kicking this can down the road and do it.
So does this mean that he runs the project?
Again,
Well, he will collect bids and award and for the
Someone to build
construction. I'm not so sure on who does the design with this one, though.
Let's get a bid with bathrooms.
Because if we want the Scandinavian design or the Buckley design,
We can do whatever you want, but you gotta decide. He's given us a proposal for this. If you want bathrooms, you know, maybe we ought to have to come in and talk to us about that.
Okay.
That's not what we're proposing.
confused on this particular part. We contracted with Pulse, what, a year, 2 years ago, to design us a
quick and dirty.
to send to the state.
Yes,
for-
I think it was this winter, because they had,
this
it was out there
winter?
this winter.
Last
There's-
winter.
Remember?
Or, I'm sorry,
Okay.
technically,
So, yeah, that's where, and he could design it, correct?
That's in the proposal.
Right, that he design it and
With
send it
our
out for
input.
bids.
With our
With our
input.
input, right. If we're gonna have lamb beam, or if we're gonna have a Bowles frame
Well,
style
that's
with
consult with
steel
us.
ceiling, yes.
well,
That's what we need to tell him what we want.
Yes,
Okay, I'm right there now.
that's in the bid. And him to do the plans after we tell him what we want. It's gonna be excruciatingly painful.
well, he's, you know, okay. So,
That's what it says.
Move that we hire Klaus Heinrich, based on his offer, he hired for $8,300 per meeting, extra meeting cost of $400.
Or,
motion made and seconded, discussion?
Can we get to some generic pavilion plan from
we're not designing the plan. That is still a possibility.
It's very likely, you know.
But why, what's the engineer for that?
Because he has to prepare plans so someone can build it, and have to be certified by an engineer if they're going to build it.
Handicap access, that sort of thing.
So this isn't determining the design. It could be the cheap design, it could be the fancy design. That's not determined at this tonight.
This is gonna be the price of this dam, basically.
Yeah.
Well, they could run the project.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's $400 for extra meetings, and, you know, sometimes things take longer, so there's extra meetings. Any other discussion?
Is he gonna do just the building or the whole, ground, the whole, yeah?
It's just the building.
Does that include like the cement and all that?
But, yeah, I believe the requirement is that there'll have to be pavement.
They'll spec that out, I believe.
Yeah, the handicap requirement will be pavement.
ADA compliant.
The terms keep things.
Yes.
He'll ask us where you want it. And then he'll draw us where we want it.
Yeah, he's been down there.
One of the fences. One around it.
Yeah. Danny was down there, anything to add? I mean, you know, Klaus, we met him several weeks ago. He gives a price, and that's why I picked the board during one of the budget workshops to say, do you want to do it or not? So, motion made, motion seconded. Further discussion? Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
RFP for governmental site plan. Thank you, Leslie. That's great.
It's just a starting point. I wanted to get it on your agenda, and I understand if you didn't have, obviously, enough time to look through it for tonight. But the idea is to do kind of a conceptual plan, which you've had done a couple times in the past, conceptual plan for all of the township-owned properties around this area that will accommodate a location for the library and new fire hall and any expansions or changes to this building, accommodate township hall site, and any other things that, that may be incorporated in a new site plan. I did get some input from some of you about potential bidders. I was at a conference last week and got a few more names, and I've been trolling around for a list of people that might be appropriate. A couple of them are downstate companies, architects and engineers that specialize in fire halls and civic buildings.
You get any names from me?
I don't remember which one.
I don't like getting things at the last minute, have to read it, but this is only 3 pages. I read it, I think it suffices.
I support that comment.
Yeah, and I think the sooner we move ahead with getting something out of the book.
Well, it's the library, that's
I would-
the priority, right? I mean, at some point, they get all their money, they're gonna want a piece of dirt.
Well, that plus the flow and lots of other things with the site itself, I think the getting together, we have the survey and the top will work, but now it's time to start tying things together with some of the expansions that we're gonna want in the future. So, having somebody look at it is only appropriate. Is this this could be a more extensive list than this? I mean, because is there a reason we didn't put advantage design on there?
I thought they're on there, but they're not.
No.
You got it.
Yeah. That's Jack, no, but,
There's the reason.
well, yeah, I heard some of those comments, but I still gotta say that, whatever you wanna get done, look at a number of people, and when you look at them, you might as well look at it, the best list you can.
I'll make a motion that we allow the RFP to be completed with some details that may flow in over the next 5 days and be submitted to as many people, including the people on this list. I'm just trying to get a turnaround time of 40 days, 45 days, what do you guys do on these? 45 days for responses, support.
We'll pick a due date and an opening date and that stuff.
Well, I mean, there's some things that need to be filled in here,
Yeah.
honestly, but I'm trying to give her some leeway to do that. And if Sherry wakes up in the middle of the night tonight and writes something down, she can still have time to send it to Leslie.
And work out.
Sure. So you're looking, one thing I wasn't quite sure about was whether you wanted qualifications and just hire the most qualified person, or you really are, this is set up to be a price.
Yeah, I don't want, I mean, we're not gonna send it to unqualified people.
Well, we're choosing the people, so we wouldn't care about the qualifications. We chose the people.
Well, yeah, we were talking before, we were talking about, some of the shops are one-stop shops, they, the engineering and everything else, but,
August 8th, in action for our board meeting, which is outside the 45 days.
let's, do we have to pick a date right now? I mean, why don't we get it out the door?
This is going out at the end of the week, we gotta pick something.
At the August board?
Yeah, well, the week before the August board.
Right, for the
Things we do.
Right.
And you say that's August 8th?
August 8th is our board meeting.
Oh, okay, so it's July 31st.
Oh, wait. Read that whole thing. Should it be 3 PM or should it be 10 or 8 PM and then we give her 7 PM and we get to a board meeting?
No, we want a week before the board meeting,
Right.
so we have it in our packet ahead of time.
Yeah.
Then let's do 2 weeks to make sure you get it in the packet.
Well,
So July 29th at 3 PM,
Let me here. July 27th, 28th,
28th.
high noon, or the end of the day?
I was
Let's do
thinking
4
3
p.m.
p.m. 4, because that way you can do your last call, close the doors, and say, yep.
Okay.
Typical,
28th?
yes.
Thursday,
Because I got
of July.
precinct training and I should be back at between 4 and 5. That'll be good.
So we're picking
4 p.m.
Is that a motion?
4. It was.
And we just keep the time. Any other discussion? Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Not say no.
No.
No?
Thank you, Leslie, good job.
So no, you don't want to go out to propose it?
I don't like this. I've read part of it now.
Send her your recommendation.
All right, now I meet this person. Who put that on
We kind of did, well, I remember Judy and I were talking about it anyways, and we put talking about it as a board for a couple of years now.
Budgeted for a full-time, part-time would be.
There's been a lot of calls that we've gotten from the Golden Fellowship for repairs that need to be done, or the park, and it's just to the point where it's kind of getting out of hand. So we thought
Welcome, Barbara.
we would bring it to the
Yeah.
board and see what they thought.
You call them idiots, right?
Start part-time and maybe working full-time, but at this
November.
point, I don't think we have full-time, but
Would it be cheaper though to hire contract somebody in versus having another employee?
I think it'd be hard to find somebody these days, everybody's wanting employees these days.
we just need an all-around handyman that's willing to kind of be on call and
I say we do an ad in the paper and see what we get.
Well, we got an hourly rate thing. What's that little sheet say?
what was it? 20 bucks an hour?
It's John.
We were
Don't ask.
I see checks in there, 2 checks a month, so what?
15.50 an hour is what we have
He
down.
takes care of the city.
Place to start, you see, there.
He
Yeah,
does-
it's
that's
empty
the
there.
He cleans the floor, and he'll go in and check after, somebody rents it to make sure it's cleaned up before they get their deposit back.
He picks up the cans and bottles and returns them.
Yeah. He doesn't
Well,
have an
yeah,
interest in.
We could, if we bring someone on like that, then maybe we could do that.
Pam, are you making a motion?
To spend money.
You said we budgeted for a full-time person.
I make a
Okay.
motion.
These two put this on there.
I make a motion that we run an ad in the Record Eagle,
For a handyman.
for handyman. A part-time handyman at $15.50 an hour, part-time.
Only 15?
That's what it says in here.
They're good, we can give them a raise.
Okay, second.
Okay, motion made, second, discussion. Fine, then what are you gonna do after you run it?
When you ask for it.
Well, then they got to come to it all has to come to the board for you guys' review and approval.
You wanna interview everybody on the board
I think we do.
for the handyman job?
I think we do.
Okay. You want to come to the next
And
board
it'll
meeting?
make everybody happy.
You wanna
I would say.
Rent a room? What do you wanna do?
I
Just
would,
have a reply by, before our next board meeting. Well, it's gonna take more than a month, I would assume, to get in applications or resumes, whatever. Now we're gonna have to interview. It's probably gonna take more than.
Well, those are the things I'm asking.
Yeah.
Back.
Then what are you gonna do after you run the
July,
handyman?
August,
You wanna
by
interview
August.
people for this?
Well, we have to have an application or request a resume or qualification, so we should have a document. I'm not too picky about it for this particular position, are you? Sure. Do we have a application?
we're going through the whole process like we do for everybody.
I said paper,
Yeah.
with the form of the paper.
What about if you get 50 applications,
Well, then we'll bring them to the board and we'll
No.
weed through.
you're not going to shoot them out to all the board members, And the board members send you back like their top 5 picks or something before it ever gets to the board.
Who's top
We
5
just
picks?
adopted a hiring
Yours,
policy.
yours.
that says three.
Right, yours, and mine.
We have a
All
hiring
look at
policy
the
we adopted
application.
35.
2 months ago that basically
You
says
might have same
you
time
can
I
sort out,
Mine.
right? And only bring in the top or to bring all. We have a hiring
I
policy
think
that
so. I
says
think
exactly
so.
what we have to do. We adopted
So.
it, we kicked it around, just follow it.
Okay, motion made second, any other discussion on this one? So, we're going to, get some resumes. Or,
And I say, let's put a date on there of, let's do July 28th, because it's such a great day, by 4 PM.
All right,
What,
sounds good.
For what?
For the resumes to be returned to us.
It's a month and a half.
I was just going with the RFP. So they all came in on the same day. You wanna go sooner? July 15th?
so you have a board meeting in
Probably
July,
We could
July
do June
15th.
30th.
July 15th.
It's only 15 days.
It's up to you guys, it's your motion.
July 15th. July 10th.
When's the next board meeting?
July what?
Don't have to.
Just pass the resolution.
Yeah, I know.
Send me a sheet.
You want, I want maintenance, that's handy.
July 11th.
Yep.
July 11th.
Yeah, I think, I don't know.
Why don't we do, you wanna
Then we
do,
could have maybe a special meeting to hire
or have them do July 1st? Then we could have time to get them in and get them to
I
everybody.
think that's enough time, I don't know.
It'd be 3 weeks.
Okay. Oh, sorry.
People look for jobs, they usually,
We'll do July 1st, because then we should be able to work on it the next.
Yeah.
All right.
So that's your motion?
Yep.
And in your motion, you also have the,
Mhm.
and there was a second. And we're discussing. Anything else? Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those not, say no.
Thought we'd have more input.
Parks and Rec.
We tried it once, remember? It didn't work too well.
That was,
That was
And we
different.
paid them a
We
whole
paid
lot
them
well,
more
we're trying
money.
to do a do-over now. Get it all right, so you guys are all happy.
That'll be a Christmas miracle.
Yes.
Well, back on this Parks and Rec, I have the short list this time, just for me, everybody else, that's fine. We have Katie Clark's application that we had a few weeks, where was it, I just seen it maybe a couple months ago. Jim Anderson's always been on there, Don Favitz, Pat McDonald's, and Parks and Recreation, and I recommend, Mara.
Wasn't it a lot bigger than that last time?
Well, it's-
I don't think it needs to be a
I
lot
don't think
bigger.
it has to be.
Well, they got something to do now, they gotta pick a design of a pavilion.
I don't think
You
they do.
said Klaus was gonna do it.
I think we're gonna pick the
The
design.
board should get to do that.
I doubt we're gonna put it off to some committee, are you?
Yeah, because we've had this on our table for 2 years, and we haven't done it.
So you want a committee to maybe take 10 more years?
I want Parks and Rec to do it.
Oh, come
But
on, I
they're
wanna
not
pick the
there to do it.
design.
You know you're gonna want
Let's
to.
take a few steps, you know,
All right.
I mean, there's a master plan, there's plenty of stuff.
You named 4 people.
5.
Five. Katie, Jim, Tom, Pat, Mark. Some
Well, I'll make a
documentation.
motion we adopt the supervisor's recommendation for those 5 people and to be on our Parks and Rec committee. I don't recall if we staggered those people or not, if they had terms, do you?
1 year.
Both all 1 year?
We've been doing really just a year.
All right, that's my motion.
Second.
Motion made seconded. Now, you do have some people that are elected. If you want-
Elected?
Well, elected officials usually set their sunset when their time is sunsetted, but this is Parks and Rec, so it's not, it's not like a planning commission. So, any other discussion? Think sounds good? Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those not, say no. Rural Fire Board representative.
I asked that put on there, I would like to have Marv be our primary representative to rural board for a number of reasons. One is I think you checked out on that, and you've never been very positive about the positive outcome of us reconciling with rural, and I think that defeatist attitude is not what we need, and for all I know, you don't wanna be on that board anymore, so I wanna make a motion that Marv be our primary rep from here forward.
Well, I would like to correct a few things, and one is the fact that your last meeting, you was commenting about that I got some great job somewhere, or I'm going somewhere, I'm not, I'm simply retiring, like you said. I've had some great jobs, and this is certainly been a really great job. And I love this community, don't plan on checking out, and, I've been on the Rural Fire Board for, 24 years. So, and I've been the chairman for probably 18 of those years. So I think I'm fairly clued in on, how the fire system works, and how the operation is. And it's not any attitude for me, okay? There's a number of different conflicts going on with that group, okay? And, certainly whenever you give them notice to withdraw, some people's feelings are hurt. But the fact is, we've been in the fire business in the township and transport ambulance business a long time. We're not gonna stop. We hope to work through anything we can work through, but, I'm excited to get a consultant that will help us through, look at our medical side as well as our fire side. And I'm excited that they've engaged, they're engaged and looking at their operation for the future.
You've been gone the last couple months, and I've heard rumors that you had a job too, and the rumors.
Again, I heard this the other day, and I'm like, and then Sherry said something, I'm like, okay, I may have made a comment that there's a California company I've worked for, but probably not for a year, where I've done contract work where I'll fly out of town and we do cellular engineering and software engineering. Great company, great job, but, I don't wanna be gone. I don't like traveling jobs, and I'm literally just, I'm excited to still be part of the community. I've just, decided that my goal was 52 to retire, and, lots of financial things happen on the way, so I'm fairly excited at my age that I can, I've, been fairly successful in business before, and I got enough that, I wanna make the most out of the days I can, that's all.
So, the last couple months, Marv's been going to the board, and you haven't been around here.
Well, I wasn't at the last month's meeting, and there was maybe another one several months before that.
Beginning of the
I
year.
did go down to Florida several times. My
I'm
mother's
just saying that.
quite ill,
That
and
leads us to think.
And I did just take a
The
vacation.
rumor was true.
I did just take some vacation time, just the last several weeks, or, since I last Rural Fire Board meeting, but we talked about that. But my mother's been quite ill, so I did miss one maybe February.
You made that comment, and you made a comment that,
Yeah, the job thing,
the
maybe,
job, I'm not sure.
maybe
I
that
think
got
was,
misconstrued, with the.
Stated that the rural. Yeah.
Well, that's where I heard it, was what it came from Tim Trudell at Rural Fire, and I'm like, what's that? Was it in minutes or something?
No.
No, not in ours.
Oh, no, you were at the meeting.
Yeah.
We were at, Sue and I were at the meeting,
Yeah, okay.
and Dave.
I'm, yeah, it'd be great if I had some people in their job.
When we had our workshops on rural, we've had a number of special meetings, and you have said out loud that you really don't have a lot of confidence that they're gonna change anything and what that board is doing, and again, that's not the representative I want, that doesn't.
Okay, well,
believe
do
in
what
the
y'all
process.
want, I'm still interested, but do whatever you want. I've enjoyed the, experience, certainly, but, it's up to the board to decide. And who's the alternate?
He's currently the alternate.
Yeah, currently, yeah.
If my motion passes, then we'll have to do an alternate.
All the people that are on that rural fire board right now are supervisors, right?
Correct.
Is there anything in their bylaws that said it's supposed to be the
There's
supervisor?
a recommendation in the agreement itself that the supervisor, I believe it may refer to the clerk as the alternate, but it's not required. Any township board can send whatever representative they want. Typically township supervisors
Have
are
you
on.
ever known them to send anybody else? You've been on there a whole lot of years.
There was a time when Junior was trustee with Springfield Township, But Tom worked full-time out of town, and that's a township owned gas. No, generally, it's always been senior.
Tom was getting ready to do,
Oh,
the other Tom now. I think it was Johnny that was interested in taking his place because I got to talk to Tom last Friday, so.
you know, again, I mean, whoever you'll want, typically it does state in the agreement, typically it's always been senior.
I made the motion.
Well, by the end of the year, it's gonna be, we're either gonna be in or we're gonna be out. It's gonna be a new supervisor. It seems like, why do it right now when we're so close to either the end or deciding we're gonna stay in, and then possibly be a change when we send, if there was a new supervisor.
Well, July is, like I said, I don't think he's got confidence, I don't think he's pushing as hard. as
Anybody
ever.
supporting his motion?
I disagree with them. I think you've done a great job.
Okay, do you wanna remove it from the agenda, what do you wanna do with this issue? Or,
You're the chair, if the motion doesn't second it, fails, move on.
well, do we need to appoint, okay, I'm already appointed, so, okay, good enough, and Marv's already done.
And everybody can go to the meeting.
Everybody seems to be
So,
okay.
the action is, we'll remove this from the agenda?
That is.
Just fell dead. Do you like to support or
School lease option.
This is the charter school situations at the point where we need to start applying for an authorizer. And on these, from what I've seen on these applications, they're always asking, well, what are you gonna do for a building for this school? And while ideally we would get access to the existing school somehow, which we could put on the application, but I'd like to have an alternative. Again, it's hard to predict what'll happen with us trying to get to use that school. So what came to mind was a lease option. I guess I would be asking this board to authorize the supervisor to enter into an option to lease land in this area right around the township hall here for a period of 3 years for $1 a year. The most likely scenario would be to bring in portable buildings for the early years of the school until they could raise enough money to build a brick and mortar school that comes with that. But that would help with the application or chances of getting an authorizer, and also might give us some leverage. The school's system knows that we are gonna do this anyways, and they might be a little more willing to enter into some kind of agreement where this charter school we use the school. So I guess that would be the request. I can put that in a motion, but I guess I should see what the thoughts are before I do that.
Has anybody talked?
What's the update? I mean, what's been going on?
Has the school said anything about the increased per pupil pay that you're gonna receive this next year, if that changed any outlook?
Well, whatever increases schools would get, we would get. It's not looking good. This authorization process takes a year, so unless, we're still investigating a few long shots, but it looks like to go in this authorization route wouldn't be opening this fall, but next fall. There is another project.
Is it a deal breaker that they don't have an existing building? I mean, adding a building or some sort of facility adds 30% to everything, doesn't it?
Deal breaker that we don't have a building?
No, that no one's gonna want a charter unless they got a place to move into. They're not gonna take an empty field and do a charter, would they?
Sure.
Would they?
Yeah.
Okay.
One on the other side of town, yes.
Well, and we have the opportunity to buy some portables.
Can the township actually, take land and give land?
Not give, just leasing it, sort of like the arrangement with the library.
Yeah, we're not gonna get to the library, but, okay, we can lease land perpetually for the school to be there? Or do you want-
We could, but I'm not asking, but I'm just 3
You
years.
just wanna see if they're gonna be up and running and if they can sustain a
Yeah.
school for 3 years and make it work, which,
Then something could be renegotiated, or, township could go any way it wanted, it could cancel the lease and kick it on. That would be enough so that the authorizer could say, all right, they got a foundation to work with here.
yeah, but
Basically, that would show the township's backing kind of this charter school idea.
I figure it's gonna take another year. All the kids will already be placed in their new schools, and their parents aren't gonna wanna disrupt them again.
And that's, well, all we can do is try.
Oh, I know, yeah.
If we do get the authorizer and we put it out there and Kingsley comes in and has a big open house, and if they can't sell it along with us, we just hold up the tent and no local school.
Has anybody talked to the Arts Academy yet about?
You don't seem to be I don't know, I have heard that TCAPS has requested an extra 6 months to figure out what they're doing with the school. I don't know if Judy said. I wasn't there.
Because technically TCAP has the building.
Yeah, what do they wanna do?
To keep us out of it, I'm
Yeah.
sure. But we do have, made several attempts to set up meetings with Interlochen Arts Academy to talk to them. We do need
Possible at least the school itself.
that's another option.
Yeah, since charter schools are public schools, that would enable TCAPS to hold on to it if they wanted.
When's the last time anybody has tried to talk to the Arts Academy?
We've made several phone calls, haven't gotten any back. I heard that there's been several of them that are on vacation. This is kind of their vacation time. So, Pat and I and Mark Payne will probably be meeting again next week. Because we are gonna have to go talk to TCAPS at some point to see if they'd be willing to lease a building to us, and we still need to talk to the Arts Academy. And then we've got some calls into people that we are seeing if they'll help us with some of the funding as well.
Or just an article, or I can't remember where it was, in Record Eagle, or I think it was, at that time, a couple weeks ago, that said the Arts Academy had no idea that we even wanted it or anything like that. And I just wondered if they would want it.
Well, how about this? So we'll stick to the request, is it about lease, Ben? What would you like?
Well, let's see, make the motion that the township authorize the township supervisor to enter into an option of the local charter elementary school to lease land for the school's use and placement of portable buildings located on this is 10th Street, isn't it? Located in the 10th Street area land holdings, and not to interfere with any library plans, and the location or locations to be determined at the sole discretion of the township.
Well, is this a,
That would be for 3 years at $1 a year.
no, is this a,
Second.
is the motion to have, okay, motion made second. Is this a motion to have an advantage maybe at one of these agencies to say we've already beat our spot?
They want to see that you have a viable plan, and I can describe, as far as buildings, the location of the school. So I can tell them about the situation with the existing school, but once I tell them all the details, they're going to be thinking it's very contingent. So then I can say, well, if that doesn't work out, the township is offered land, we can get portable buildings, and there's funding for the buildings available through grants. So if you can't get the old school, we'll start with portables and start
Yeah, but that, we'd have to negotiate with them. The tenant.
No, the property that we were gonna negotiate with the music camp with.
It's their property.
They're gonna move.
It's their property east of the existing school property. You know, back.
It's still there, it's still empty, but it's not
It's
ours.
still the music camp?
Yes, we never required it.
Oh, okay,
If we were trying to get
We're
two
trying to
caps
get
go
the
back
property.
there, we'd take the front piece.
yeah, okay. Well, if we get the library up here, maybe we could close
Yeah, as long as I can envision the township office is going down there, but
Oh,
maybe the school.
For
the school could use it.
temporary, yeah, for temporary,
That'd be a great
then
spot.
if, yeah, the facilities were like.
Pat, that's how, your motion is a big deal. Is there any kind of contingent upon, final board approval, or, you give them authority to negotiate one, but not sign it? You just had the whole ball of wax in your motion, I can't support that.
I thought we did have it ultimately conditioned upon township.
He said the location of the school was contingent upon the township approval, not that there's a lease.
At least at $1 a year.
Yeah. I mean, the township can put the school anywhere they wanted,
10th Street, Riley's.
once this person comes in and helps design the area or whatever.
If they just need a
They can
motion
change
from us that we're supportive, I think we don't have to have it as strong and as definitive as your motion just is. Because you have them closing the deal without any other action on our part.
Right, let's see.
Even if it's subject to
Township is.
full board ratification.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Sure, subject to ratification of the board. Ratification of the option agreement, but
That's
So, is it, you got pretty good.
What was your thing you said about the land holdings?
that it's, I was just trying to describe all the ones we have in this area right here.
contiguous
Yeah,
property.
you're gonna have to add library.
All of ours is contiguous here, right? It's all contiguous, there's no separate isolated parts.
Well, we have
So
other
reread your
properties,
motion
but,
again, make sure I have it.
In this area, it's all contiguous, though, right?
yes, but then.
Got 4 lots on the right of road now.
Yeah.
Okay.
But this complex is.
Underwater.
What's the
We
verdict?
have him reread it.
Yeah.
I move that the township board authorize the township supervisor to enter into an option for the local charter elementary school applicant to lease land for the school's use and placement of portable buildings or building on the land located in the 10th Street area land holdings east of US 137, and 137. Not to interfere with library plans. I take that part I'm saying, at the locations at the discretion of the township for 3 years at $1 per year, and said option be subject to ratification of the township board.
You want to go back to the township against the property, township code.
Oh, I just added that because they pointed out, some Well, it's something to work with, I guess we can always come back and.
Okay, yeah, something works.
Susie, you supported it?
Yes.
Okay, motion made, seconded, good discussion. Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposite, motion carried. Questions? Public comment?
A little update. Apparently there's been some safety concerns and issues down at Memorial Park or Field of Dreams. That caused a little concern among some individuals. After going down there, reviewing the park conditions firsthand, I did take a look at some of the comments that were made with regards to duct tape holding up the electrical box for the pavilion. I went down there, took a look at it, found and determined that duct tape around the electrical boxes was in no way a fastener of said boxes. They were a fastener of crepe paper and string for decorations for whatever it had been rented out for. I took liberty, removed all the duct tape, and grabbed the base, grabbed the outlets, grabbed the box itself, fasteners. They were all securely fastened.
So they were left over like birthday decorations?
Yes, yep. Then I took a look at the slide in the distance. I happen to have a shovel in my truck. I went and took 7 shovelfuls of place in, put it on the bottom of the slide. That took, I don't know, I think I gave the details for duty, just to ensure that I was in compliance without having any issues. We did have a safety report done last year. Anyways, I'll continue. The swing, the D-swing was off, one chain. I lifted and put it back on the hook and had a pair of pliers in my pocket, trimmed it. The drinking fountain, reviewed that, looked at that. It was full of diamond dust. You know, the kids are notorious for that at every park I've been involved with. Took 5 minutes with that. Mrs. Moyer, the wife of Grand Township Supervisor, was down there with her grandkids. Great grandkids, I believe. There was 10 of them or so. Playing the merry-go-round band. And she came over and asked if she could help just as I finished up. She said that's her time and she likes that.
This is what, I think they would be.
Well, no, her grandkid just got married. Yeah, there's one, but anyways, in the 4-H fair.
Oh.
So, somewhat familiar with her. So that got taken care of. Let's say, remove the duct tape, the drinking fountain, and, in fact, there is no electricity to the building.
There is now,
There is now, they went and flipped the switch, Mr. Anderson did. Okay.
him, Joe Johnson. They repaired, they did the electrical today, did the boxes, over the lights in the wall, whatever you told me to have them do. That's done, tires are gone, boat's gone.
Yeah, and I took a shovel and scooped up the glass. Took a little, took a few minutes on that.
Tried for weeks, couple weeks at least to get those tires and that boat out of there, 2 or 3 weeks.
And the sand trains, or the trains or the sand diggers, I sat on and used them. Took a whole 220 pounds, so. But I filled them back in.
Can excavate our site for it.
My husband dug one of those up and took it home and fixed it.
Yeah, I remember.
And I met Mike Conlin, he's part of the Tramps.
Oh.
I met with, actually, he wanted me down at the park, at the water system going, $4.23, I think it was. To get that all up and running.
Great.
Yep, going to reset the pump, double reset pump buttons that had to be pressed.
Had to be reset again today too, so I think we might have it.
Switch probably.
Well,
No, I think when landscape management was down there, I think they were doing some work and I think they might have turned it off because they were checking it. But it's up and
yeah,
running.
because they come down Friday afternoon after Mike and I were there.
Yeah.
I'm not Charlie, maybe, from.
Yeah.
Tom Babbitt.
Yeah, I didn't see Tom, I had seen Charlie and another gentleman there in the band. And the basketball boards, backboards, I did say take some measurements in a few minutes, I did that. Those commercial backboards, I think I sent right here, they're in the neighborhood of $555 to $595 for a basic unit of a park grade backboard. So whether or not we want to proceed with that, I guess now we can send that to the park rec committee at this point in time. And or to, remove the damaged ones there. I mean, there was, two kids there today playing, what they call it, horse, we would call it horse, but something else, I can't remember the name, but it's some horse. And I did have some concerns, with some of the comments that were made from the parents down there on Friday. I stopped in at the Chamber of Commerce this morning and asked if there was any concerns on their behalf because of the, they are sponsoring along with the Unit Township Family Fun Day. I was told that there's been no issues, no concerns on their behalf. Contact was made with the president of the chamber, and in fact, I believe the president of the chamber has taken their kids down there. And from my understanding, no kids returned their blood. And this
Where did you get the comment?
I'm just checking on Family Fun Day, if they had any concerns, if the chamber had any concerns.
There was a
Why
post,
would you have any?
there was a
why would that
post
be a-
cautioning people to go to Family Fun Day, that the park was dangerous.
What? Stupid, who said that?
Mr. Biondo, I'd like to respond to that when I get a minute. I am the person who posted it.
And it was, it was still invited that, yes, please come and enjoy Family Fun Day, but use safety precautions, or individual could not support. Felt that he had to give substantial warning or fair warning to use extreme caution, safety down there because of the issues. So I conversed with a couple of the parents that were not going to because of that, and they are, after they looked at it, reviewed, and listened to what was actually done down there, they have no issues or concerns. So the Chamber of Commerce was a little concerned on it, but I don't think it's,
Who went to
There.
the Chamber of Commerce?
well, that's.
I mean,
Yes,
Ben
I
worked
did
for the
talk
Chamber
with
of
her,
Commerce.
but she hasn't heard any issues, but she does have concerns that hopefully doesn't impact the attendance. This is a.
That's the only way to get any money.
Fundraiser,
Things like
this is
that,
their fundraiser, and.
Well, anyway, good. So,
But a lot of that stuff has been addressed down there, and obviously the well might be another issue, but that's gonna turn it off, try to look,
I think they
to
turned
see if
it
they
off.
can fix it when the fuses were already replaced.
right, well, we had Bob's down there 10 days ago.
Yeah, the bill came in last Thursday, I believe, because I
Yeah.
called Judy on Friday saying, no water, Mike's here, and saying we have no water, and he said, oh, that's fixed, so I went down in the ladder, kicked the sump pump on, I went, oh, there's go-go juice into that outlet. So,
But the problem was apparently, like I say, originally, what Ben thought, and been involved, is that it's cavitating, or single, or possibly one of the legs was gone. So
well, and it was, that one
It
right,
was.
Mike was there and he witnessed that, the east fuse in that box was blown, the paper was blown right out.
Okay, good. Well, thanks, Bud.
Yep.
Ian?
Thank you. What I posted on Facebook was Green Lake Township and the Interlochen Chamber of Commerce presents Family Fun Day 2016 at the Green Lake Township Memorial Park. The fun begins at 12 p.m. on Saturday, June 18th. Youth baseball tournament, potato sack races, face painting, hula hoop contest, and much more. No? Wait, what? Hula hoop contest? Sign me up. Free popcorn and snow cones. Hot dogs, brats, chips, and pop for sale. Entertainment starts at 2 p.m. with the Scottsville Clown Band, and at 5 p.m. with Willie and the Wannabes. And then I put, attention/caution, as I reported in a video on May 21st, the park has some safety issues. Please be aware and enjoy the fun with caution. I didn't say stay away. I didn't say it's not going to be a good. I posted on that I had seen some issues. I would feel bad.
Posted on Facebook? Why
Yes,
didn't you
sir, I'm
call
running
us?
for an office.
Why didn't you call us?
Because I'm running for office, I saw a problem. I notified,
Listen, all you got to do is call us.
you know, I'm
You
running
think it
a
works on
campaign,
Facebook?
sir.
What?
I'm running a campaign. I saw a problem. I brought the problem to the attention of the community. I had 15
The
people.
community? Why
Yes,
didn't you
sir.
tell the township?
I have 15 people who said that they'd be happy to help out fixing things. As I said in public comment earlier today, I had an electrician that would volunteer his time to fix any electrical issues if there were issues.
Listen, Andy, if there's any problems, just call us. You don't have to make a big flattery deal about it, okay? Just call us.
Yes, sir.
I mean, you know, we'd be glad to, we're down there a lot. And I mean, you know, if there's something that's not happening, I realize about the tires for cleanup day, that we had to get another contractor for that, and the boat that got stuck there, and then we got too much garbage this year, more than we had capacity for, so our standard process is, we pile it up, because let me tell you, you don't wanna send people home with garbage trucks, because you end up with it all over the township. So, you know, we take it if we say we're gonna take it.
Yes, sir. I also said thanks to the clerk and her staff, the treasurer and her staff for the work they did to get that taken care of, because it was my understanding that you were out of town.
God's on vacation.
So I wanted to make sure I did give credit to the people who had done the work to get that stuff cleaned up at the end of the day, or at the end of the event.
Well, listen, if there's a problem you see, you know, just bring it to our attention. I mean, you know, but that's just puff.
Well, that just deters people from wanting to go to the family.
I mean, it's puff. Why would you wanna do that? I mean,
That video that you did too was like that real sad music and the park is going to, you didn't say it in these words.
All right,
but
listen,
GLL.
I haven't seen it, I don't know anything, I mean, I just heard, that's why I just
Over the
asked
top,
where,
Andy.
where he had something, but listen, if there's an issue in your community, you know, and we figure out whose responsibility is, and if it's something to do with the township, we'd be glad to try to fix the problem. But, again, you know, it's busy, it's springtime came, cleanup day came, and everything started up. And, you know, elections, listen, we're all gonna be here in some capacity, it's a community, so, you know, we don't have to bust on it.
It's not Hillary
It's a
and
great
Biden.
community, so let's not bust on it. There's plenty of other things to happen, but if you wanna tell people.
And if I may do the follow-up, I mean, there was probably 50 safety issues or whatever. The bench, the boards in the dugout on the middle field, adult field, softball field there, it's split. There is a jump taken off from the chair, from the brace in grade westerly. A piece did break off of,
Yeah, we had a bunch of those replaced last year.
yeah, there's a couple that need.
Well, and I think that, you know, the issues that we have, I think that they know that we've got Parks and Rec going. I think that's something that our Parks and Rec committee need to work on.
Well, I don't know about that, they're a committee, but if there's a problem, you know, we have a process, it's inspected weekly, the play equipment, you know, we have somebody that does that. I mean, we've had our risk managers down there, and we know a couple things we're gonna continue doing, we're gonna put a pavilion in, I mean, it's what it is, I mean, it's.
We've been improving the roads.
It's a great park, it's a great park, and, you know, there are something, but I will say this, you know, a lot of maintenance on a lot of things we own, including this place, you know, they're maintenance nightmares because they're so old. I mean, we have, you know, a lot of this stuff is very old, and it breaks.
Well, and that's why Susie and I had thought if my niece.
You know, if we had a brand new stuff, then, you know, it wouldn't break it.
Well, I mean, the 50 noted safety concerns, 49, 50 noted safety concerns.
And we had, the park was inspected last fall, would have been September? Is that what it said was the date?
Yes.
It was like September, and
20.
and he went through, he was down there for 3 hours, the insurance guy was, and, you know.
But they do that periodically, I just had one from a group actually that did it for the senior hall and library. So we've gone through that punch list of a number of things, some things weren't pertinent.
I got one thing. Is there a chance that we could get like little plaques and put down there, if you see a problem at the park, call and put the township's phone
That's a
number
good
on
idea.
it? And then put an extension number on it and just put it by, like on one of the
there's phone numbers down there already.
Yeah, we got a phone number in the pavilion and at,
Pavilion
and
and
at
ball
the,
fields.
the billboard. Yeah. But, you know, yeah, you know, we always try to stay light on signs because it's kinda like, and we've never had to put a fence up like some places do and everything else, and it's really always been your park, and you know, you pick up what you do, and I mean, people have really, we've had a few problems, but they've been really respectful of that part.
You know what the latest one is? Somebody letting off fireworks inside the Porta Johns.
They're doing it in the pavilion too, it's all marked up down there.
Now that, we have an ordinance
You're welcome.
because it's our because it's our property.
It's
We can tell-
vandalism.
We just gotta get,
Somebody did it last year and they burnt one of those power poles, stumps up by the airport, you know? They
Yeah.
put it in there, I don't know what it was, and it literally, the fire truck went down there and burned it to the ground. I mean, it was
I
so
put it back in the hole, I dug it up, myself, put it back in.
These were M80s, cause they showed it
Oh, really?
Yeah.
M80s in the portage john?
to us. Yeah. They did 3 toilets last year and 1 this year, so we've got a remedy, I'll share.
Uh-oh.
Well, very good. Any other, public comment?
I'm just gonna say, looks like we've got a solution to one of the earlier motions you made earlier about getting a maintenance person. Perhaps somebody who's probably due a couple hours of payment already.
You did that all the good.
I've been working down at the park since the late
Well,
'70s.
you got the maintenance person, just point them to the next little project you need or something like that.
Well, like I said, you know, for years, you know, I did a lot of that, and then we had John help out, or different people help out, we have different people here.
Well, Al
But
helped out a
it's
lot.
escalated, yeah, it's escalated to where, you know, I did give up plunging toilets, probably 6 years ago now, because it was always, you know, when a toilet plugged wherever. Just because it's got too busy, I've got too many things going on, but yeah, it's nice to have somebody, to be able to do it, we typically do it with contractors.
You got rid of our block toilet down there. Someone involved with the room.
It was, I like that.
Yeah, so did I.
Well, anyway, I'm sorry, yes, sir.
Dennis Gutwitch. I was reading the paper today about TCAPs, and TCAPs are looking at Bertha Law School and looking at the old Long Lake School. And the reason is they want to bring in more revenue, and the way to do it is to bring in foreign students to go to high school here. They're talking to raising that up to about 70%, 70 students. And they're really looking at those 2 schools, but they never mention Interlochen whatsoever. So it's something they are looking at, and they're talking about big bucks. And you read the other day, I think it was Sunday's paper, a couple in Kingsley has got 6 or 7 Chinese students living with them. And they're saying what it's gonna do is gonna bring in revenue for people to bring them in the States and live at their house, so they're gonna get more revenue. It's just like some people would say, another paycheck. And where they're looking at is TCAPS is wanting to make big bucks off of the revenue off of these students. And they're talking about now looking into Spain and trying to bring students over. So, I don't know where this Paul is coming from, but he is, I don't care for this guy at all.
Yeah, he doesn't care for this area out here,
I know he doesn't. And the thing of it is I was really surprised Interlochen wasn't mentioned, so I don't know why we can't talk to the music camp and see if we can lease the old school.
It's not their building.
What is it their building?
It's their land.
TCAPS.
Oh, it's TCAPS? Okay, then that's funny, you know, I think it wasn't brought up, and they brought up the other 2.
Well, you know,
And I
the other
think they're
2 are
gonna
in
use it
pretty good shape compared to this one. I mean, not that this one's bad in our standards,
Yeah,
but compared to some of these other schools, they're in pretty nice shape.
yeah, I get the impression they wanna convert them into living quarters.
Well, that takes a change of use, and that
Yeah.
takes a lot of money and lots of.
And they're talking, they're gonna make a lot of money off from this,
Yeah, well.
so.
Anyway, thank you.
I just
for
wanted you to
coming.
know.
Anything else?
Mr.
Yes,
Secretary.
ma'am. Your name and address? Your name?
Shelby Christensen, 9671 Circle Drive. I was wondering, where you gonna work the seeds for, seeds use conservation for, out of Traverse City, during the process?
Seeds.
Seeds? Yeah.
We, had Seeds do something for us a number of years ago, but we haven't been engaged with them.
I was just wondering, because they might actually be interested in the pavilion job, if you haven't, I don't know if you can get yet, but I work for Seeds.
Oh, it's, you know, it's a good idea. One of the concepts that Klaus had was, there's pre-packages. And, so it's a assembly process, basically, and you've probably done it.
Yeah, they've got a carpenter who runs the crew, that's excellent.
Yeah, you guys do great. Pardon?
If I wanted to tell them, you know, who they could call to make a bid, you know.
Yeah, this is just to begin, and he'll bring back something. We're in the works of it. They can certainly call us anytime, call Judy or myself. I'm gonna guess that we're probably gonna have proposals back by, didn't we pick a date on this?
July 28th.
Yeah,
4 p.m.-ish.
Sorry. But yeah, great idea, really. That Seeds has really been more and more active, more stuff going and keeping everybody moving. Thank you for any other things.
Paul,
Yes.
couple things. I just wanted to follow up, sorry, Tim Trudell, 3076 Bowerman Road. I did receive an email in the last 3 hours that we've been sitting here, from Jim Young, stating that the consultant that Rural and also Green Lake Township has hired did accept the changes to the contract that we proposed, which was just a terminate without cause clause, if you want to call it that. So we're moving forward, everything's good to go on that aspect. Number two, I do want to comment just a little bit about the park. I don't want to get you guys all riled up again, but my daughter's class did come down here, her preschool class. And honestly, I was a little bit upset with what I saw. I don't know when your cleanup day was. I think it was, 3 weeks ago or something, but a group of 5-year-olds and an old boat and a bunch of tires. I know contractors are a pain to deal with. We deal with them all the time. There's 7 members of the board. There's 5 members of the board that I'm on. Don't rely on people to tell you about this stuff. Get out there, walk the park. I mean, I know Mr. Radke did this, but don't wait until after the fact that someone's put it out on Facebook. Whippy crap, everything goes out on Facebook now. There's good and there's bad on Facebook, and what I've seen about Green Lake Township out on Facebook now is fine. I mean, it's just bringing the points to life and getting them out there. I've received many complaints, compliments, whatever you want to call it, through Facebook, but don't shoot the messenger when you want that information brought to you, and the information is there. So, like I said, I was a little disturbed what I saw.
I'm sorry I hurt somebody.
You didn't hurt my feelings, Paul. You would know if you hurt my feelings.
Really? Any other comments?
Well, like I said, I've been working on the tires.
Are you ready to adjourn?
I actually have a comment regarding Mr. Trudell trashing us, saying we are untrustworthy at the fire to come. I mean, our money is in
Yeah, I agree with you
rural
there.
board. We are rural board. So
Yeah.
don't be saying stuff that sounds like we're rotten people, that we
I'm
don't
not
know
saying
what
you're
we're
rotten
doing.
people.
All
It
have-
was.
I'm not speaking right now because I'm very upset with you.
Okay.
Nothing more that this board wants than to take care of our residents. And that's the only reason that we are considering getting out of rural fire. Considering, because we want what is right for our residents, and that's what we are working on.
I agree with you. Okay, can I respond to it? No.
Stop trashing us. I would have said something at your meeting, rural fire board meeting, but Marvin and Dave spoke up, and I didn't feel
I
the
think it
need
was
then,
just
but I
a
do now.
miscommunication is what that was.
I don't, well then, you shouldn't be spouting your mouth off like that. You don't see me mad very often, but I'm mad.
I'm sorry, Sue.
Oh, no, you're fine. It's been boiling in me since that morning, and I'm not gonna take it.
Thank you, Susan. 904, move to adjourn.
Second.